It's a bright Monday morning. Welcome to the AM News here on the AM Show. My name is Pakwisi Shandov. To a very fair story. Now, there is tension in some communities between the northeast and savannah regions after one person was shot dead by a group of armed men. Unconfirmed reports say the young man was gunned in a confrontation between the villagers and the armed men who were transiting on motorbikes. The Savannah Regional Minister, however, assures that the security personnel on the ground will bring the situation under control. Correspondent Ilyasu Tanko reports.
Community sources who spoke to JoyNews said the incident occurred in the afternoon of Saturday when a group of heavily armed men who were transiting on motorbikes to a community called Pempasem suddenly made a stop at the Kutula community. According to the sources, the armed men, after disembarking from their motorbikes, began to carry out looting of livestock and other properties belonging to the villagers. This resulted in a confrontation with the villagers who came out to prevent the armed men from taking their properties. In the process, the armed men opened fire in the village, leading to the death of the young man identified only as Razak, who was insisting on taking back his goat which had been captured by the armed men. The paramount chief of Janga, Nansedu Nantogma, says the incident has left the entire area in a tense and unpredictable situation.
Somebody sitting in his house, his hometown. You are just passing by your car. Then you started catching their goats and their sheep inside the car. And they came out to ask you, why are you doing that? You started to shoot him and just take the goats away and go to the place where you are going, making somebody's funeral. Security women asked them, they told them what has happened. They went to them and come back with empty hands. They didn't arrest anybody.
The chief confirmed that police personnel from the Savannah region have been deployed and currently patrol the area. The Sonaba, however, said the security personnel are yet to arrest the armed men who are still present in the area, threatening and harassing the villagers with their arms.
You would have not seen those who killed him. That one that you still investigation. But you want to meet them with their guns, AK-47 and others, walking the whole town. You see them, they are not the military people, they are not the security people. Why? You must arrest them to let them know that they can put the law into their own hands, doing what they are doing. They are spoiling the name of the government.
The armed men have been identified as traditional militias coming from Daboya in the Savannah region who were deployed to protect a funeral ceremony in one of the disputed communities in the area. Speaking to JoyNews, the Savannah Regional Minister assured that the security personnel on the ground will restore calm and prevent further escalation.
We actually don't know, but I believe sincerely that these warriors are obviously coming from the Koja side of the district. But precisely where they are coming from, I can't tell precisely now, because it is a Gunja chief who died, and no any other tribe would have gone for the funeral other than his own siblings, possibly his family. But as I speak, we have detailed enough security yesterday to the place to maintain peace, and also to make sure that the warriors who were going for the funeral are flashed back to wherever they come from.
The Kutula community is one of the about 40 communities, including Lukula, that are being currently contested in a boundary dispute between the sole traditional area in the northeast region and Wasipe in the Savannah region. From Nalirgo, Ilyasu Tanko, reporting for JoyNews.
Now, girls in low-income settings miss or struggle at school during menstruation. The situation is even worse for girls in farming communities in the Techiman municipality, where girls use pieces of unhygienic cloth during the period. Executive Director for Women Integrated Development Organization and non-profit organization is therefore asking government to scrap the taxes imposed on menstrual materials to make it affordable for girls in need. Anasabet has more in this report.
Ghana has a variety of misconceptions and stigmas about menstruation. A popular belief is that menstruation is unclean, leading to mismanagement of menstrual hygiene. This has led to a significant percentage of girls in schools missing precious school lessons due to menstruation. Executive Director of Women Integrated Development Organization WIDO, David Balonguri, noted that the situation is worrying, especially in rural communities.
In our process, we observe that most of the time when we come to the community to visit the groups that we are working with, we mostly found most of the girls not being in school, and we tried to understand what exactly the challenges were. We got to understand that most of them absented themselves from school as a result of menstruation, and those that even were able to go to school also had challenges in really managing their menstruational periods.
With the current taxes imposed on menstruation materials, David Balonguri appealed to government to remove these taxes, which is currently making it difficult for girls from low-income households to afford them.
Some of them also complained of not having pads because of the cost and then the rates. So we wanted to use the opportunity to celebrate the World Menstrual Day, and also to use the opportunity to provide advocate to government to really actually go by its promise of removing taxes on the pads, such that it will become affordable for the rural communities to be able to afford.
Bonui's regional head of the Department of Gender, Monica Onye, called for a concerted effort by stakeholders to help in the provision of free sanitary pads to girls, especially in rural schools.
We feel that, I guess, government is trying to do something about these things, maybe subsidizing the price of these sanitary pads. And if there's a way that these girls could get these pads freely, not even subsidizing, if we could get them for them like WIDO has done today, so that these girls can come to school and then have the education that they need, instead of staying at home when they are in their menses.
Some of these girls who have never used sanitary pads disclosed to JoyNews what they use each time they have their menses, and we're thankful to the organizers of the program for educating them on the proper use of the sanitary pads. When my parents do not have money to buy pads for me, I use a piece of cloth so I prevent the blood from flowing through my panties. And when I overflow whilst in school, I change the piece of cloth and dump it into a toilet pit. We struggle a lot in buying pads, especially myself. So we are happy you came around today. I wish each one of us would receive at least a box of sanitary pads. We are grateful for this, and we pray you will be able to come back with more. Anna Sabit, JoyNews, Aurpata.
Now, civil society organizations in the northern sector of Ghana are renewing calls for broader consultation on the Ejapa deal to offer Ghanaians an understanding of the transaction. The CSOs want a review of general and sectorial laws and acts to be business-friendly to encourage nationalism. The CSOs made this pronouncement after a forum on sustainable management of natural resources in Ghana organized by Tema Foundation Universal in Tamale.
The forum focused on two areas: the state of mining in northern Ghana and its negative consequences. It also highlighted the Ejapa royalties deal. Speakers at the forum included Dr. Chris Knapp, Executive Director, Tema Foundation Universal, Professor Samuel Jerry Kobner, Dean at the Faculty of Natural Resource and Environment at the University for Development Studies, and participating vice dean was Ben Boachi of the Africa Center for Energy Policy. Presenting the communique, The executive director for Sontaba Ghana, Lamnato Adams, said they were demanding citizen accountability and adequate feedback on issues affecting Ghanaians.
The key issue with the Japan royalty deal is the beneficial ownership, and the lack of transparency regarding the deal is quite worrying. We, civil societies in northern Ghana, recommend that we demand a broader, wider, and adequate consultation on the Japan royalty deal to let the citizenry know what is in it. There is also the need for a general review and update of national and sectorial laws and acts to be business friendly to encourage nationalism. We again recommend that we demand citizen accountability and adequate feedback on issues that are affecting us.
Presenting a paper on the state of mining in northern Ghana, the Dean at the Faculty of Natural Resource and Environment at the UDS, Professor Samuel Jerry Kobner, raised concerns over issues of the destruction of the environment and water bodies as some of the challenges faced in the mining sector.
Analysis done during of miners, especially in the Kumasi area, indicated that about 5% had urinary mercury higher than the WHO stipulated level of 50 micrograms per liter. And about a fifth of the people that they sampled from, about 120 about a fifth of them had levels higher than 10 micrograms per liter. So the mercury issue is a challenge in this part of our country. Not
Now, one thing you are likely to notice upon entering, especially on market days, is mentally challenged persons having a decent haircut and being smartly dressed, wondering who may be responsible. That is the work of the Chief Executive Officer of Bahas Foundation, El Yasu Yusuf Baba. Correspondent Rafik Salam takes a closer look at his work, the challenges, and his future plans of building a mental home.
I met a mental challenged person who's known as Mbasidu Santana. He's still with us here today. And I signed him somewhere to go and buy me some items. He went and came back. From there, I bathed him, clothed him, and feed him. The next day he came to me. I did the same thing to him again. That's how he started. I said, no, if this man can come to his senses for what he have done, I have to add another person. That's how it started. So from 1 to 2, from 2 to up to now, we are having about 48 of them within one municipal. And outside, there are more than that.
Chief Executive Officer and founder of Bahas Foundation, Yusuf Baba, giving a vivid account on how he got into the bathroom of mental challenged persons in the one municipality.
It's a call. Whenever I bath or I help these mental ill people, in my mind, I always become the most important, the most richest person on earth. Whenever I see a mental challenged person, I always know that he's a brother or a sister. Whenever I wake up from my bed, the first person I always think is mental ill person.
For over a decade and every week, the bathroom of these mental challenged persons became a permanent feature in his life. Through the support of some like-minded persons and volunteers, they will usually come around the municipality in search of these mental challenged persons to bath, giving a decent hair shave and carpet, with dressing them with neat second-hand clothing, often donated by the benevolent in the society. Yusuf Baba noted that though there has been a significant drop in the support he receives from benevolent individuals and organizations, there has been a gargantuan increase in the number of mental ill persons they are taking care of. The few persons and organizations they used to rely on are now coiling back and unprepared to give out certain economic reasons.
But now the system is hard. Those people who were supporting, I said now, whenever you go to any of them, they say they don't have money for now.
Despite the challenges, the Bahas Foundation Chief Executive Officer looks into the future with optimism.
I want to see a mental challenged person house. I want to see a mental challenged clothes. I want to see a mental ill person have the 3 square meters as we are also having.
Now, implementers of the Safe Die project have begun planting 3,000 trees in the Hohoe municipality to support the Green Ghana project. The trees would be planted along the Die stream, a major water body that is treated and served to the Hohoe municipality by the Ghana Water Company Limited. More on this report by Fred Kwame Asari.
The Forestry Plantation Fund Board supported the Safe Dime project to raise some 1 million tree seedlings for the Green Ghana project. Under the supervision of Norbert Agbechiriku, the 3 seedlings were nursed and distributed across the Volta and Uti regions to both public and private institutions, associations, and individuals. In commemoration of this year's Green Ghana Day, the Safe Dine project mobilized its workers and residents to begin planting a total of 300,000 tree seedlings. Ofram and teak seedlings are being planted along the Dine, which is gradually drying up due to human activities such as building, farming, dumping of refuse and human excreta.
And the only source of water is supply throughout the whole
The Dine is the only source of water that serves the entire constituency. Residents will suffer if the water dries up.
If you Safe Dine, we have 40 workers.
So we embarked on this initiative to sustain it. We will do ring weeding around the seedlings and apply organic manure to them.
We are going to do ring weeding and fertilizer, organic fertilizer.
There would be constant maintenance, including pruning and other activities to enable the trees to develop well. You will applaud the Green Ghana project and the workers of Safe Dime for doing a good job when you visit the site after 6 months.
Green Day, our daughter, our Safe Dime workers over Olabana Atie.
The divisional chief of B Atabu, Togbe Ajofowusu, lauded the youth for protecting the stream that had quenched the thirst of the people of B since they settled in Hohoe.
I want to appeal to the landowners that if they want to make their farms, they should not go very close to the river Dine, to the river, because those who are planting the trees, we don't want them to have arguments, troubles with them. So they must give sufficient space, probably about 70 feet from the river to where they are making their farms.
The Safe Dime project was launched in 2021 with support from the Lands and Natural Resources Ministry. The initiative has so far employed 40 residents as casual workers. Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News, Hohoe.
In our last story, the 2022 edition of the Love FM High School Debate has been launched in Kumasi. The event, which will see senior high schools in the Ashanti region battling out with arguments on motions based on issues of national interest, will commence on Friday, 17th June 2022 at the Christian Service University Auditorium in Kumasi. Love FM's Emmanuel Osei reports on this one.
I'd like to declare this event duly launched.
The 4th annual high school debate, organized by Love 99.5 FM, has been launched in Kumasi, paving a way for a series of debates until new champions are crowned. Last year's edition of the contest saw St. Monica's SHS being crowned champions after they beat Prempeh College.
These are the ladies who took a trip to Dubai.
It was so amazing.
And Nasa Matilda, what thoughts do you have about the event?
It was a learning experience for all of us. We grew from what we were from the beginning to a different or a more advanced forms of us at the end. And
I asked them to wear the confidence all the time, to be bold and to be determined to get a trophy. Believe believe me, if you get it, you will know that Love FM High School Debates was well worth it.
General Manager of Multimedia Group Kumasi, Jimmy Agla, says it is important students are given the opportunity to express their opinions on national issues.
For 4 years, the Multimedia Group Limited has demonstrated its faith in its mantra of fearless, independent, and credible journalism by giving young voices a platform to contribute to issues of national interest through the Love FM High School's debate series. As a business, the Multimedia Group sees this as an opportunity to nurture and grow confident speakers and young talents to fill the business space and influence change in our society.
The bulletin saw schools matched up to kickstart the round 16 of the contest. Competitions between schools like Opoku School and St. Hubert's, Santua and Our Lady of Grace SHS, as well as defending champions St. Monica's SHS and Sim School, are expected to be thrilling.
So let's see. Part 1, it's St. Monica defending champions will meet Sims. At the end of the draw, these are the parents. We have KNUST taking on Tepa SHS. And then we have Formula TI Amas versus OT. Yasantua will take on Our Lady of Grace SHS. St. Monica's defending champions will take on Sims. Opoku School would take on their neighbors St. Hubert's Seminary. Prempeh College will take on Ghana Muslim Mission. Adventist Girls will welcome Presby SHS Bompata and TI Amas Kumasi versus Kumasi High School.
The Love FM High School debates will be live on radio and Facebook at Love 99.5 FM, as well as Joy Prime and Joy Learning channels on Multi TV. The event is in collaboration with the GES, CHAS, and the Ashanti Regional SRC. From Kumasi, Emmanuel Osei reporting.
That's all time would allow. The show continues with Benjamin and Benis. My name is Pakwisi Shandov. It's a beautiful morning, isn't it? Thank you for staying with us as we serve you the news review. Guess whom the Nets just dragged in? Benesabu Beidou Lanza. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning to you all. And I hope you had a good weekend. And it's good to have you back with us here on the AM show.
How was your weekend?
My weekend was great. I had a lot of rest.
You did?
Yes.
Okay.
Did you?
I tried. I tried. Sunday was Holy Trinity Sunday for us Catholics. And
yes. No, not only Catholics. Not only Catholics.
Oh, you know, some of these things, sometimes you have to be careful because you don't. It's not everything we do that others replicate. Okay. So I usually start by what.
Sure, that's okay. But that's what I'm telling you.
Did you?
That's what I'm telling you. No, I mean, we all know it's on the Christian calendar. I don't know how you commemorated it though, but it's something that we also pay attention to. Yeah.
Alrighty. Okay, so quite a number of issues to get into this morning in the papers and beyond. How about we do that?
Daily All right, let's start with the Daily Graphic. You know, I like it when the Daily Graphic rebranded, you know, and sometimes it's very voluminous. There are other times it's...
yeah, that's my pal on Facebook.
Okay, let's go to the papers, please, shall we? On the front page of the Daily Graphic, be measured in expectations. And this is coming from the Asante to labor unions. We know quite recently there's been a lot of calls over salaries, over allowances. And, well, the Asante says, well, be measured, but government must ensure equity. And he was speaking at the 56th Special Congregation of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology in Kumasi. I'll be going into details of that story shortly, but let me bring you the other stories on the front page. NDC marks 30th anniversary, repositions for 2024, and consolidate democracy devoid of impunity. The Attorney General charges African countries. So let's get into that one on the Asante-Hene's call to labor unions. The Asante-Hene 2432 has called on all labor unions and civil society to be measured in their demands of government. In the same vein, he's asked government to ensure equity in its dealings with labor unions to give assurance to citizens. Speaking at a special congregation of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology last Saturday, the Asante-Hene, who's also chancellor of the university, said government was currently grappling with the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, while the Russian-Ukraine war was also having an impact on the economy. And quote, "I'm not a student of economics, but I know that resources are always limited, and therefore we cannot have what we want all the time. I call on the University Teachers Association of Ghana," it was quite specific, obviously because he was speaking at a university.
Exactly.
"And all other unions on our campuses and civil society at large to be measured in their expectations, particularly at this time when the global economy is battling the effects of COVID-19 and the Russian-Ukraine war. Also, as the good book says in Luke 10:7, the labor deserves his wages. I urge the government to continue to ensure that equity is manifestly done and the citizenry fully assured and satisfied."
Ayo, we'll see how the teachers' unions react. We've heard a few things already. In as much as I agree with him to the extent that we're not in the best of economic times, I will also say that it depends on how we prioritize as a people. You heard me on Friday talking about our priorities and what we are sinking money into with all the woes we have to grapple with. So, and time and again, interacting with, Utah, how long was it? Over a month, 2 months of their strike. And time and again, what they've asked for, because we know per the reports and all of that, we're not paying them enough. I have colleagues who have left the country saying, what is this? Do you remember the infamous one where I think the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology wanted to bring in this person from some other part of Africa? And he said, this is my position and this is what you're paying me. Chicken change. I mean, so it appears the structures in terms of salary are not working, and it's something we have to deal with. Just to cap it all off, the brain drain thing was a huge problem at a point in time, especially at the start, the inception of the Fourth Republic. Then we sort of mitigated it. It appears we're starting off a trend. Like I said, it's not just the 3,000 nurses. I have friends in there. I can count about almost 10. I spoke to a doctor just this past weekend who is raring to go. Do you get it? So if we don't stem the tide, it will be lecturers, it will be this, and all of them will be running away from our country.
Well, still in the Daily Graphic, I remember we brought this story last week. Stop blood tax, end period poverty. Okay, so this is, I like the way Graphic has spent quite...
2 pages.
Yeah.
Because the friend I was speaking of, that's her.
Yeah, okay, so let me just let you know the friend, okay. She's called, is it Abel?
Delali.
Abel Delali. Okay, she's founder of Period Matters. And she says government has to be reminded of the campaign promise to remove taxes on menstrual hygiene products. And that was the hook of our story here. But here's what gets me. There's a tweet that's attached to the story. And it's from at Tamaklo Asay. My husband at Kwame Krensel had gone to a shop around our house. A young girl was leaving the shop after he heard her say, "Is that the new price?" She was already gone before he could help her. Guess what? She wanted to buy. Guess what she wanted to buy but couldn't? Sanitary pad. 20% tax on sanitary pads. Why?
Yeah. So about a fifth of the cost.
Yeah.
About a fifth of the cost. That's what it means.
Why?
And especially in a country where we're trying to encourage, some of the young ones in some deprived places will not go to school because it's that time of the month. They don't have the right.
They can't.
Hey.
It's not that they won't. It's a still
right.
they
I guess you're putting it into better perspective.
They can't. It's difficult. You get it. So,
some of them will go mistakenly soil themselves, get laughed at. They don't want a repeat of that incident.
It's quite embarrassing. So I think that I think that is something that we should pay attention to. So while I wrap up on what we have here in the graphic, so today's editorial is on child labor, an affront to human dignity. Details of it are captured on page 7. And another committee, establishment of National Employment Coordination Committee. Hey. Benjamin.
You know, I'm beginning to think that if we conducted a study, we would be the foremost or one of the foremost when it comes to setting up committees and commissions in this country. We set up committees for everything, but their work gathers dust. I remember listening to Newsfile over the weekend and talk about, you know, the 2010 Constitutional Review Commission. Some of the proposals, it makes for very interesting reading, but it's been gathering dust after the white paper for about 12 years. About 12 years.
Yeah, the nation of committees, isn't it? But let me just focus on this one: health, spread of rabies.
Yeah, I was just looking at that.
Yeah, it's something that you should be considering. Interestingly, on my way to work this morning, we were discussing this issue because I was talking about an experience in Akosombo where a young, beautiful girl died because she was bit by a dog, and the owner said, "Oh, don't worry, my dog is vaccinated," and the parents took his word for it. And the little girl died. And if you've ever seen a video of somebody infected with rabies,
oh my word,
it is terrible.
It's one of the worst ways to go.
It is terrible. And for a parent, I can imagine watching your child, and one, you are helpless because every parent wants to help their child.
Yeah.
You're helpless. This child is behaving like a dog. I mean, if you haven't seen a video
foaming at the
of
mouth,
some
acting
drooling,
all erratic, being aggressive,
I just cannot for the life of me. So it's a problem here. And the story is by Philip Afeti Koto. And look, early medical care is needed, okay? And for those of us who own pets, dogs, cats, okay, just do well to visit the vet. If you cannot afford it, don't own one.
Again, systems. A lot of people, I mean, apart from the stray dogs on our streets, and that's another menace that we ought to deal with because one of those could chase you, bite you, and anything could happen. But a lot of people with pets don't even give them the requisite, you know, medication. They think, oh, it's just a pet. I keep it, I feed it, that's it. So they don't give them the requisite shots that they ought to be taking, and they become a risk to everybody.
So let me just let you know, okay, that the incubation period for rabies varies from 1 week to 1 year.
Yeah. So it could trigger at any time.
That's a long time. That is a very long time. So you know what? Just don't risk it. If you've been bitten by a dog, just go to the hospital. Nothing stops you.
Anti-rabies shot.
Yeah, just get an anti-rabies shot.
My curiosity though. Yes. So felines and canines. It's not, I think even when you look at the range, I may be wrong, but I think even bats could also, give you rabies. All of those in those families. I think bats can also carry it. I could be wrong. But I was curious. You know how tetanus and all, and you go to, and it's usually, I don't know whether the rabies shot is free or whether you have to pay something. You know, some of these things to make it more accessible to people or
I remember some time
people want
ago,
to come and get
there were even concerns that we didn't have enough in the system, but I think that's been sorted. So I mean, I just think that this is something we should just throw in there. And I know a lot of parents are watching. You don't want to take it for granted, okay? Once your child reports of a bite, or even if they don't, you know, children are interesting. Sometimes they may never tell you.
Right.
So just take some time to watch your kids. If you see any marks, just go to the hospital and save yourself all that stress of having to watch your child die helplessly. So, Benjamin, like I was saying, today's daily graphic is quite voluminous. There's this one, which is the big issue about addressing food insecurity. And it's got opinions from different people. We have the CEO of the Chamber of Agribusiness, Anthony Morrison, Edward Kariwe, General Secretary of GAWU, Mabel Kwashi, she's a fish farmer and processor, and Kwesi Adai-Mensah, a doctor who also lectures. So, Benjamin, I know that we are concerned. We were discussing the latest inflation rates, and we are being told to brace ourselves for the worst if what's happening in Russia and Ukraine doesn't end anytime soon. In fact, we brought you a story in one of the papers last week where Russia was saying that it's willing to create a backdoor for Ukraine to try and pass some food through a back door to export to the rest of the world. So if that doesn't happen anytime soon, Benjamin, we are likely to see some problems with food. Every time you go I don't want to mention the name of the mall, but every time you go, the price of their bread increases. It's like every 2 weeks because of flour.
Yeah, because wheat and flour.
Yeah.
And but I'm still checking the authenticity of this. I think it could be true, but I've seen images of the Rwandan president, Paul Kagame, saying, look, it cannot be that 44 million people in Ukraine produce, enough to feed 1.4 billion people in Africa when it comes to. So his country is about to embark on a drive for food.
That's a good response.
Self-sufficiency.
That's a good response.
That is what I want to see from our leaders. But it's always,
that's a good response.
You see, we've become an excusing leadership. We would rather pass the buck than say, hey, it's happening during our tenure. Let's face the situation and deal with it. And but come to think of it, we shouldn't be here, should we?
No.
We shouldn't be here.
We shouldn't.
One village, one dam, planting for food and jobs.
Raring.
If they were working as planned, we shouldn't be here, I don't think.
You're right, Benjamin, and this is a conversation we've been having, especially with Anthony Morrison and Edward Caraway, who are regular guests here when we are discussing agric and food-related issues. So there are major concerns that if we do not address the situation now, we could have a problem on our hands. I remember November last year, they predicted that we were going to be hit by, some hikes in the food prices. The agric minister came to say, oh, don't worry, it's normal. There was a drought last year and it's affecting us, but we should stabilize by January. But in January, we saw the prices go up again, and it's been on an upward trend, Our Living Standard series captured that people go to the market and they have to keep adjusting their lists. Because yesterday you went, it was 300 cedis, today you go, it's 350 cedis. So I just think that is something we need to pay particular attention to, because, Benjamin, whether we like it or not, this is really affecting people. There are people who work by day in this country. They're paid 15 cedis. You ask yourself, with the current trend, what can you afford?
Right.
With 15 cedis, if you're eating breakfast, lunch, and supper, tell me what you can.
You'd probably want to do what some of the people we've engaged have told us that they do. You eat once a day and you spend all of it on a bulk meal. Maybe you buy kenke and quite a bit of fish, and that's your... I don't know how this will, but maybe by choice.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is most of these people who are paid by day do a lot of rigorous work. It's labor intensive. So you're asking yourself, if you were sitting in an office crossing your legs and eating a meal a day, it's not a problem, but somebody who's holding a mattock or a shovel, who's doing all this hard work, eating once a day. I mean,
on a more serious note, what I was about to add was, on a more serious note, I mean, if I look at over a month now, I've practically eaten one good meal in a day, and then maybe a little top up. When I'm being very serious.
But it's
one meal.
But it's okay. But like I'm saying, you see, that's why I'm painting the picture. You're not the guy who is mixing cement and carrying it on his head. So
my
that's
point
why I'm saying
is, this is me. Imagine the person who is doing that.
Exactly.
And whether they can cope with, such a situation.
Okay, Benjamin, let's bring the other papers.
But anyway,
but the NDC is 30 years. So do you have the caption?
They've had a lot to say.
Papers?
It's in one of the papers, most definitely. It's so NDC needs a new center of power after 30 years. We'll get into that.
Okay.
A quick one, just because I was thinking through, I thought I'd seen it and I was right. Bats are the leading cause of rabies deaths in people in the US.
Okay.
So there are, and it says bats should never be kept as pets, in case you have some of them.
Why would you even keep a bat as a pet?
Yeah. But there are these gigantic ones. I don't know whether they are from Indonesia or whatever. Have you seen those before?
No, I haven't.
They're as big as dogs. Yes, a bat.
No, haven't.
As big as a dog.
All the bats I've seen are 37 and Burma Camp.
Okay.
the really tiny ones, yeah.
Let's do Republic Press. National Cathedral. So I'll just give you the headlines and then zero in on one or two. National Cathedral can serve as a tourist site to generate income. MP Dr. Adomako Kisi, Member of Parliament for Anya Sotum. That story is on page 6.
Did he say could? Or
he says can.
can.
It still feeds into
possibility, probability.
It's just like I was mentioning
so we aren't
on
certain,
Friday.
Are we?
People are projecting, according to the Secretariat, National Cathedral Secretariat, we could get $95.5 million over 5 years. But let's look at the 2.3 billion Ghana cedis, or the $350 million we're pumping in there. Without this enterprise, what other things could we have done with that kind of money? I see so many things, and I enumerated some of them the last time. So with this thing, I think we can go back and forth, but you know, some people make it as though if you were against the project, it would mean you were irreligious, faithless, maybe a devil, Satanist. No, we're very objective people, but when you have hungry people, it's sad.
Please,
but
the poor you shall always have with you.
Yeah, I guess.
But you know, the finance minister spoke about this on GBC.
Yeah, it's the soul of the nation. It could take away from our spirituality. Seriously?
Yeah.
With all the churches we have in Ghana, every how many square, whatever, you'll find a church in Ghana. And we need that national cathedral.
And he also says it's not true that it wasn't budgeted for. You know, there were concerns that we didn't have specifics. And it's one of the things we're pushing for until we saw some of the leaked documents detailing how much we've spent so far.
He says it wasn't leaked, that this was obvious. It went to Parliament, and we're also importing stones from Israel, you know, and all of that. But Sir David Ajay and his group, I mean, I don't have any money if you're at that's the work my own father did while he was alive, so that's fine. But 32 million Ghana cedis. Let's leave it here. Why should I criticize Akufo-Addo when I have access to him? Paula Domotri has been responding to critics.
Say what? Say what?
Repeat says, that. Why should I? So people have said, you seem to be criticizing. You
okay,
know,
so is he? Can we go into the details of that? So I'm interested.
You want to know? Okay.
So is he saying that because he has access to him, he won't openly criticize him, or he won't criticize him at all?
I don't know, but I don't know whether this is surprising to you. He's board chair.
You read the story.
Anyway, Paula Domotri, host of Good Evening Ghana, has conceded to criticisms that his perceived harsh and controversial editorials are fueled by his disdain for the NDC and its members, as well as his dislike for people whose opinions he views to be against the interest of the Akufo-Addo government. He has conceded. Adomotri confirmed on Thursday, June 9, that he is anti-Mahama and NDC and sets up his show to prosecute issues that align with his interests, which is to protect the Akufo-Addo government. Adomotri justified his decision with the reason that he had direct access to President Akufo-Addo and would use that channel to communicate his displeasure to him, if any.
Okay.
So it's his choice.
Okay, so that answers my question. So it's not as though he won't criticize him, but because he has access to the president. But I wonder who he won't have access to in this country. Did he not have access to Toby Apeda, who he refers to as someone he had a good relationship with? He got
the BMW 7 Series from him.
But he openly criticized him.
Right.
So what's the point here?
Are you trying to do a logical analysis of this?
No, I'm not.
I've gone past that.
Let's move.
I'm just saying I have gone past that when it comes to Big Brother Paul. Okay. Anyway, there's also Kwewu Hene supports Okwewu United Division 1 League drive. Okay. Kaswa School closes down. You should take a look at this one. Over COVID scare. And that's another issue.
Yeah, and today we are having a conversation about COVID.
Exactly.
And you need to join that conversation. We want you to understand why it's important that we pay attention to COVID. I remember when we were talking about the monkeypox, Dr. Franklin Esiedipekwe said, I know people are concerned, but let's not lose sight of the bigger problem, which is COVID. It's still lurking. And it appears that we are seeing, or it doesn't appear, we are actually seeing a rise in the number of infections.
So here, the parents whose children have been sent home from the Our Lady of Holy Cross School in Kaso have been left on edge after the school's decision to close down following a COVID-19 scare. The story talks about happenings from last Friday. There's also, just to wrap, learn to be tolerant, Mahama tells Akufo-Addo, and that's the banner headline. And this one that I'll wrap with, Council of State not robust enough to necessitate amount of ex gratia. That's according to Martin Pebo. Let me just do this.
He was on fire on Newsfile this weekend.
He was. Yeah. And I shared this. Let me just get to it. It was on the JoyNews platform. It has to do with, so look at the ex gratia for, oh, why is this internet disappointing me? You know, the members of the Council of States get something around 300.
Yeah, so we did a list of the ex gratia.
Something plus. So there you have it. President, you're looking at, that's the ex gratia after 4 years, 659,392 cedis. Vice President, 549,492 cedis, just about 100,000, 110 lower. Speaker of Parliament, 488,000 plus. Cabinet Minister, 464,000 plus. Cabinet Minister non-MP, 457,000 plus. Member of Parliament, 390,000 plus. Council of State, 366,000 plus. In 4 years, and not even in 4 years, at the end of 4 years, someone could earn what some Ghanaians would work 200 years and never get. Well, I'm done with Republic Press.
The Finder, front page, 100 million trees to be planted by 2024. That's according to President Akufo-Addo. And Friday was Green Ghana Day. And EcoBank amongst most profitable banks. IGP Opon inaugurates police station for Achim Akokwaso. And that story is also captured on the front page of the Publisher and the Custodian. But this one, tourism is key to jobs revenue, President Akufo-Addo says, at reopening of renovated National Museum. And that story excites me. I think we should visit the place together, Benjamin. What do you think? I mean,
the National
Museum, not the cathedral.
Right. No, because I was about to tell you I've been there a few times.
The National Museum, okay, so the president reopened it.
Right.
And I think it's something we must begin to encourage, honestly. Local tourism.
It's been in a bit of a state.
Yeah, local tourism. I mean, beyond the state of such places, I think that there are a lot of Ghanaians who don't believe in or patronize these places. But it's very refreshing. It's very therapeutic. I don't know how many tourist sites you visited in Ghana. I've visited quite a number. The Mole National Park, the Wuli Waterfalls, the Kakum National Park. I just think it's something we should do. It just helps us get, acquainted with ourselves and what's around us,
We're not doing enough when it comes to intra-tourism.
Yeah.
And it hurts because there were so many things we could monetize. Yeah. Because what we generate internally from tourism, that alone could do a lot for us. I feel if we managed intra-tourism, now that you bring it up, maybe we would have no need for something like the e-levy. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
But we're not doing that. And that's something one of these days I'm going to go hard on. Tourism.
Okay.
Daily Guide?
Yep.
All right, so $10 million to renovate tourist sites, according to another story you were doing. But this one, Oforiatta accounts for COVID expenses, story on page 6. No, it's not that he has accounted. He will be accounting. That story is on page 6, and it says...
Finally.
Minister of Finance, Ken Oforiatta, will appear at the dispatch box in Parliament on Thursday to brief the House on the expenditure incurred by the government since the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic in the country in 2020. He is expected to be quizzed on the amount taken from the Ghana Stabilization Fund after the House approved a request from him to lower the cap from $300 million to $100 million to support the coronavirus alleviation program. And I'm sure there'll be quite a number of questions to answer on that. But something else of interest, 7 students suspended for smoking shisha.
Did you see that video?
Hashish.
Did you see the video?
I've not spotted the video, no.
Okay, so these girls were in their school uniforms, dancing and smoking and, all happy and gay. So the school authorities were alerted. And it's problematic because they were in their uniforms, And we are told later that they broke bounds and the parents were called over to the school and they were suspended. But here's what I thought when I saw that video. I asked myself, do these ladies know that just one puff of that shisha is equal to smoking about 20 sticks of regular cigarettes?
I hear when you do it for a period of time, you've done about 1,000 or so cigarettes.
Do they understand the impact this has on their health? Or they're just doing it because it's a trend, it's fashionable, it makes you look like a certain kind of a person?
What kind of person?
Oh,
You're puffing out all of this from your insides, and what kind of person?
Because they like to identify,
right,
with a certain class, with a certain group, and this is what people are doing.
But this is illegal. The last time I checked,
exactly,
it was illegal.
Exactly.
So, but you go to a lot of pubs and stuff, and it's right in your face. That's the whole bit. It's right in your face. People are doing it at the entrance. They're doing it inside, and so what's illegal about it?
Benjamin, so that's the problem. So we talk about people exporting soya beans. It's right in our face. It's like, what's happening? Why can't we bite for once? Why can't we?
At least we are not rabid on the ball. But 3 gentlemen were involved, 3 men. They invited the youth, and they have also been accosted by the police. And I'll wrap with these 2. UK Parliament summons 4 MPs. Guess on what?
Yeah, on LGBTQI, the bill in Parliament. And this is trending on social media.
How does this... So the UK is summoning us
Commonwealth.
No, I get it.
If you read the story, you get it.
Yeah, I get it. I've read, but the whole thing leaves me with a bit of,
Big Brother.
For me, and let me be blunt, the vestiges of colonialism, I am very passionate about those subjects. And when it comes to, who the heck are you? Basically.
Big Brother.
But it is because, again, like I always say, we've not managed our resources well. We've not managed our economies well. Do some of these countries tell Saudi Arabia what to do? They can't, and they don't, because they are independent in the true sense of the word. For us, they can get up and tell us anything and summon you because you're tied to their purse strings and to the Bretton Woods institutions.
Yeah. So talking about that, you remember on Friday that story about billboards promoting LGBT,
right? The one that was pulled down,
being pulled, and the story was done by the BBC. And the comment section, I'm also interested in what other people think. And there were many people from other African countries who actually saying that Ghana has done, what other African governments have been scared to do,
right?
With regards to, making a move like that. And there were people who were saying that go to Saudi and tell them that we've seen that We've seen that warning over Qatar. The upcoming games.
Yeah. Don't come and. I mean,
football.
It's clear.
I mean, here's the point: you believe what you believe, but let people also. That's the argument. You believe what you believe, but let people also believe what they believe. And so, we'll see how it goes. But Qatar has sent a warning that look, don't blame us if you bring that thing here and
if you're caught. It's like Malaysia. You do certain things, they catch you. 50 pick MPP forms, and that's it for the Daily Guide.
Okay, so let me just quickly bring what's on the front page of the other papers and we wrap up. Shrash calls for improved social protection systems. Very important. Akufo-Addo leads nation to green Ghana and commends Lands Minister. Isikwe hot over harsh fees. I don't know if you've seen that.
I haven't. Sheikh Isikwe.
Sheikh Isikwe is hot. So this one says the story is on page 3, yeah? The printout was not too
saw,
clear.
is this not the story? Yeah.
So people, I'm just trying to look for the amount. Okay, 39,000 cedis for new pilgrims. Yeah, and people are saying...
That is if this is your first time.
Yeah, 39,000.
Saudi Arabia has also had some caps and all of that. And now I think those from the West, you don't go through an agency. I think you have to apply directly and all of that.
Yeah. So let me end with this one. 450 million cedis invested in flood control measures. That's
the president has been telling us of that. It would also be interesting. These 450 million, in terms of value for money, how much have we achieved? It's just like telling us, 80%, whose statistic anyway? 80% of the trees we planted last year survived. Who did the analysis? Which report showed us that 80%? Where are the 80%? Lots of
verifiable. You have to make it verifiable. Anyway, it's now time to do sport.
Yeah, let's bring in a certain Muftau Nabila Abdullahi who likes, doing the sports, and I'm sure he's going to be talking about our 4-1 thrashing as well at the hands of, Japan.
That was not a good one. But also, there's this picture trending. I don't know if Muftau will be able to tell us if it's true or not about Asante Kotoko receiving their trophy in a certain Abubuya. And I don't...
Steer clear of Kumasi Asante Kotoko.
Come and let us know if that is accurate or not. We are interested. And the medal, Ghana Football Association.
Charlie, it's only one for the women, right? The women's league.
No. Look, I did visual arts. I did visual arts in high school, and I want to believe and maintain that there are people who could have done a better job locally. This is a not.
On that note, we veer into sports. Do stay. The wait is finally over as Kumasi Asante Kotoko having crowned champions of the Ghana Premier League. We'll also be talking about the Black Starlets of Ghana who are hosting the Waffle Zombie Cup of Nations. Their opening game did not go the way they expected as they were mauled by rivals Nigeria. And we'll talk about triathlon as well as the Africa Triathlon Championship was staged in Ghana. We've got this and many more here on the AM show. With me, Muftar Nabila Abla. Let's start with the Ghana Premier League stories, where Kumasi Asante Kotoko having crowned champions of the competition for the first time in 7 years after defeating Elmina Sharks 3-0 in their coronation match at the Babayara Sports Stadium. 2 goals from Mfege and the other from standing keeper.
The giant trophy, Patrick Asma, who got sanctioned along the seasons back here to receive it. 250,000 Ghana City, I must say. And there.
As Kumasi Asante Kotoko were celebrating at the Babayara Sports Stadium earlier in the day, Accra Hearts of Oak, they lost 3-0 to Great Olympics. And now their chances of finishing in the top 4 of the Ghana Premier League is in limbo as they suffered a 3rd successive defeat.
Great Olympics could open the scoring with this one. And it's the first goal of the game. Great Olympics have scored.
Second strike by Amos. Look at how he turned past Moalasan. And then that was a wonderful strike.
So corner kick sent in by Sule. And we have the second goal at the Accra Sports Stadium. Great Olympics have scored again. Who has the ball passed? Goalkeeper Richard Atta. Great Olympics.
That was a very good header.
On cloud 9 at Razak. Patrick Razak coming. Also finding Samuel Linkum and ball with Enoke Subonti. Goalkeeper Stephen Kwaku makes a save and the follow up was a team effort. Inkum Sense in the corner and has go up and that was a brilliant save by goalkeeper Stephen Kwaku again.
That will clearly be a contender for save of the season, and you can see.
Referee Charles Bulu blows his whistle and it's Samuel Linkum, but straight to goalkeeper Stephen Kwaku.
Yeah, for them the job was done way back in there.
And that is the 3rd goal for Great Olympics. Great Olympics have scored the 3rd goal of this game. There, you see the cross from Philip Kwajosaki, and you see Abdul.
The Black Starlets of Ghana, they opened their Waffle Under-17 Cup of Nations at the Cape Coast Sports Stadium with a defeat to rivals in Nigeria. The Ghana Under-17 national team lost 4-2 in their opening match of the competition.
Emmanuel Michael, spectacular, brilliant goal, amazing finish from Emmanuel Michael to hand the Nigerians the lead on 12 minutes. Yeah, at this level, that's a good drive, and it's the 2nd goal for Nigeria. It is a big striker. Nigeria is looking for inroads, but Keweye's effort doesn't yield any positives. Nigeria looking for the 3rd, and yes, they finally get the 3rd goal. Nigeria is not coordinated enough. Here is Apia. Ghana Ghana looking for a consolation, and yes, Ghana pulls one back. Good goal from the striker who just came off the bench.
It's a brilliant finish, and that just could be the lift that the team needs. We're taking a look at the goalkeeping errors there, but this is the goal. It's a really poor goal to concede.
Ghana looking for a second. It's a penalty. Ajiman steps forward and it makes it easy for Ghana. 2 minutes to go. Ghana have 2 goals. Nigeria have 4 goals.
Black Stars conceded 4 on Friday. Starlets conceded 4 on Saturday. The Black Stars will be back to action on Tuesday in their next game of the ongoing Korean Cup in Japan. They come up against Chile. And let's talk athletics now, because in the next couple of months, the Ghana Athletics Association is going to be extremely busy, because Ghanaian athletes will be participating in various competitions ranging from the World Athletics Championships to the Commonwealth Games, as well as the World Under-20 Athletics Championships that will be happening in Colombia. President of the Ghana Athletics Association, Ababu Afalbik, says that they need to camp the athletes abroad to have them prepare well for the competitions.
Yeah, for now we have plans of camping the athletes. Okay. Yeah, so we have gone into discussion with the Ministry of Youth and Sports. We have sent them our budget proposals, and we have met with them on a number of occasions. We have also sent proposals to GOC and then the local organizing committee. These are the 3 bodies that we are relying on to be able to support us financially, to be able to prepare our athletes for the various competitions, especially the African Championship, the World Championship, and then the Commonwealth Games, and then crown it all with the Youth Championship that will take place in Colombia. Yes, so our budgets are with them. We have had discussions. They have assured us that they will give us the necessary assistance. And so when we go back from here, our next line of action is to go back to them to ensure that the necessary finances are provided, so that we will have at least some weeks camping for our athletes. In fact, we have also indicated with them that we want to camp the foreign athletes who will be competing at the Commonwealth Games, because very soon they will be on holidays from their various institutions. And once they go on holidays, they are on their own. And so if we don't organize a camping for them, then we will not be able to get them to compete in other events that would prepare them adequately for the Commonwealth Games. So all these discussions have been held with the various stakeholders. We are also hoping that corporate Ghana will also come in to give us the needed support, now that they have seen that the athletes are winning laurels and they are competing at the international level, and their names are being mentioned everywhere. And so when they also come in to support, they will get the mileage that they deserve, and that will help all of us. So we are on course, but we need the support from the ministry, the GOC, the LOC, and then corporate Ghana, so that we'll be able to really prepare our athletes adequately to be able to win medals. We are hoping that as for medals, we should be able to win.
Over the weekend, Ghana hosted the Africa Triathlon Championship in Labadi. However, the scenes were chaotic because the water was not up to the standard required to host a triathlon, and President of the Ghana Triathlon Association, Bawa Fusene, has apologized for the scenes that were witnessed before the competition.
I must first and foremost apologize to these international stars for Ghana not being able to honor its pledge by organizing the triathlon. It was circumstances that went beyond our control, and we have to take our last option rather than cancel the event. So I'm assuring everybody, I'm assuring all the athletes who have come far and near that this will never happen again. I'm putting my presidency online to show that what happened today, it is not the Ghana Triathlon. It was just circumstances that went beyond our control, that I would die minutes that our major sponsor pulled out. It was a very, very difficult situation for us yesterday. But whatever it was, we have made a pledge that we have to organize this competition. That is why this competition, it is how it is today. But I can assure Ghanaians, I can assure ATU, I can assure World Triathlon that this kind of event or this kind of organization will never happen in Ghana again.
Let's hear from one of the athletes who participated in the event. He's a Ghanaian, Musa Seidu, and he's been speaking about how difficult it was for the athletes to begin. And he also spoke about how difficult it is for a Ghanaian athlete to participate in events as well as work to survive.
This particular race, this is my first time doing triathlon. Yeah, always I've been doing the triathlon. So this one was slightly different, but it was okay. We're given a calendar, and then unfortunately we just got notification the date has been changed. So it was probably I have to prepare 3 weeks before this race. So that was something that really affected me. Yeah. Normally the date I had was different, so my preparation was something as compared to this. So I have to wrap up quickly for this event. It's not easy. It's not easy. You know, this particular event sport is very expensive. Yeah, as compared to the swimming. Normally we have to pay for the usage of the pool. Any pool that you go, so you have to pay. And you have to train for 5 times in a week. You can imagine the cost. If they are taking you like 20 cedis for a day swim, it's expensive. So you have to also look for something doing before you can also, since we don't have any sponsorship.
Let's wrap up with some highlights of UEFA Nations League, and you can head on to myjoyonline.com and read some more sports stories after the highlights. These are some results of the UEFA Nations League. Spain 1-2-0 against Czech Republic. Switzerland 1-1-0 against Portugal. Norway 1-3-2 against Sweden. Slovenia drew 2-2 against Serbia. Northern Ireland, they also drew 2-2 against Cyprus. Greece 1-2-0 against Kosovo. Georgia 0, Bulgaria 0. North Macedonia 4, Gibraltar 0. Malta 0. And San Marino also won. They lost their game rather to. I'll wrap up AM Sports here with me, Muftar Abla. You can head on to myjoyonline.com and read some more sports stories.
Hello, thank you for staying on the AM show. Let's now talk about Ghana's COVID-19 cases and how health experts are worried about the surge in the numbers. I'll be having this conversation with Charles Nora, who is an epidemiologist, Dr. Fred Adomako Boateng, who is the Bunu East Director of Health, and Kwame Sapong-Esiedu, who is a CDD Fellow, and Dr. Esiedu Bekwe, Public Health Director, Ghana Health Service. Welcome, gentlemen. And before we zoom into our conversation, I'd just like to just do this brief presentation to understand where we were at the beginning of the year and where we are now. So here's what you see. Ghana's COVID-19 updates. It's a daily distribution of confirmed cases from January to June 2022, and our source is the Ghana Health Service. So when you take a critical look from the 1st of January 2022, you realize that there was a surge in the cases, and well, mostly attributed to the activities during the festive season. And we went up till about 600 somewhere in the first week of January. Then we began to see a decline all the way till March. And during this era, we had the mandatory face mask policy. Now, on the 26th of March 2022, that's where there was the new dispensation, the no face mask era. So you can see clearly there were virtually no cases being recorded. I mean, no cases up until the 14th of May 2022, where we began to see a gradual surge in the numbers. And now what we are seeing in June now is that the numbers are beginning to go up again. And so you see the gradual surge in cases. What does this tell us, especially about the decision by the president to lift the mandatory face mask wearing protocol and other safety protocols? So let's zoom into our conversation now. First off, we'd like to find out why we are seeing a surge in our numbers. It is important that we answer that why question. And I'll throw that question to Dr. Esiedu Bekwe, who is with the Ghana Health Service. Good morning, sir. Thank you for your time. Have we been able to establish why we're seeing a surge in our cases now? Okay, well, I'm told Dr. Esiedu Bekwe is yet to join. So let me throw that to you, Kwame Sapong Esiedu. Do we now know why we're seeing a surge in the cases? Because the story was different from March, even up to May, April, May.
Well, it's very difficult to put a finger on any particular reason, but there might be a number of reasons. From the start, now people are not required to wear face masks, but that doesn't mean you must not wear face masks. And when the president made that announcement, that was one of the things I said, that the fact that it wasn't mandatory, that didn't mean that it wasn't necessary. We didn't make that distinction between what was mandatory, which was backed by law and an LI, and what was necessary to keep us safe. And the thing is, with COVID-19, it never totally went away. There was always a latent low-level infection rate going on anyway. But because it's a disease whereby a lot of people might be mildly symptomatic or asymptomatic, nothing was happening. My suspicion is that especially in Accra, with the rains coming in and the flooding, resulting in the fact that people have had to shelter indoors a lot more than they previously had, and therefore they are interacting more, people are getting more infected. And then the infections are affecting people who are more susceptible to go to the hospitals. And that is why we are having this uptick in our active case numbers. And why do I say so? I say so because currently Ghana is not actively testing. The only people who are being picked up are people who get symptomatic and go to our hospitals, which then means that they are only, you'd say, a third or even a fifth of who the actively infected people are, because that is how the disease plays out. About, let's say, 80% of people will be asymptomatic. So that should tell us that there is a latent infection going on, and it's getting higher and higher and higher. And my suspicion is that if the rains continue and we have to stay indoors a lot more with poor ventilation, we're going to see a slight uptick. The last thing I would say is the saving grace is the fact that mortalities haven't followed the increase in cases. And that's my suspicion, is because a lot of the people who have underlying conditions have been vaccinated, which is a good thing. So they are getting infected, but because they have been vaccinated, their system is able to overpower it. And our health system, with our doctors learning how to manage COVID a lot better, because now the disease has been with us for up to 2.5, 3 years. These things are coming together to keep us safe. But ideally, what we should be doing is getting vaccinated more, wearing our face coverings more, and observing the protocols, even though they are not legal. And I think that would see us through this phase.
Let me go to Charles Nora now, who is an epidemiologist. And it's important that I ask this question because your job is to study these things and see how we can either slow the spread or prevent the further spread of these viruses. So you've been with the COVID-19 team that's been working in Ghana since we recorded our cases, and the president decided that, look, let's come together to look at how we can halt this. Did we anticipate this? Because I'm sure that the president made an informed decision when he decided to lift the protocols. But in studying the virus and seeing how it works, did we anticipate that possibly during the rainy season we could have a surge in our numbers, as explained by Mr. Kwame Sapong-Isiedu? So how did we come to this point if we anticipated it? And what steps did we take?
So good morning to you and then to the panelists and the listeners. I think Mr. Kwamina has given a good background to it. Yes, we should say we expected this because, you know, after the easing of the restrictions, life was almost back to normalcy. And then all the preventive protocols that would help slow the infection were open or at the discretion of the general public. And because we had not ruled out the COVID situation in the country, it means that there were still some few cases lingering and that could spread. And with providing the conditions necessary for the virus to thrive when the flooding and then the rains set in, it was likely that we will begin to see some infections. Now, the good thing is that the Ghana Health Service had put in place measures of routine surveillance, and such that if you fell sick or fell unwell, you could get to a hospital, and there are systems in place that will pick such samples and test. And it is through these routine testing that we are able to pick up the numbers that we are seeing. Now, the approach should also now be that the virus has been with us for close to 2.5 years, almost 3 years. What should be our approach? And we should begin to learn how to live with the virus, and therefore making sure that our points of testing are made available to all the health facilities throughout the country, such that when people feel unwell, they could easily get tested. The good thing is also that the vaccines have helped to reduce the number of cases and then the severity of the disease. And, you know, the vaccine does not last for long. After every 6 months to a year, you need to take a booster. So if you also look at our vaccination coverages and patterns, yes, we have done well by giving close to 16,000 vaccine doses in the past. And that has also helped to dial down the cases. But as people live beyond 6 months, 1 year without booster doses, the immunities generated from these vaccinations begin to slow down, and therefore they will need to take booster doses that will help decrease the spread of the infection. So yes, we should continue with the surveillance component and making sure that we are doing testing, and the testing should be decentralized to all the healthcare centers. There are RGTs available now for COVID, and so it should be made available to all health facilities to at least screen people who show symptoms, and then we can then begin to isolate people who have severe cases from case management.
Now, I'm glad you mentioned the issue of getting booster vaccines, because we've heard people like Professor Awandare suggest that. Let me come to you, Dr. Fred Adomako-Boateng. You're with the Ghana Health Service. It appears we've seen a slowdown in the education, a slowdown in terms of, well, apart from last week, it's been a very long time we heard from the Ghana Health Service. Why aren't we continuing with our vaccination drive like we used to? And has it come up for booster vaccination drives as well?
Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I will want to even look at the graph that you are showing right now. Before I answer that question, if you permit me.
Please go ahead.
If you look at the graph, the mandatory face mask era the last time that we peaked was almost around 26th of February 2022. You saw, and then for a long time, kind of we were not having cases. We're recording zero. And in epidemiology, if COVID had been any other pandemic, you would have declared that the outbreak was over.
Okay.
And this is how we go around doing it. If you look at the last case that you got, and then you add 2 incubation periods of the agents that you are discussing, in this case, COVID virus, the incubation period is 14 days. So if you multiply that 14 days by 2, you get 28 days. So the last time you got a case, if you add 28 days to that day, and then you are recording 00, technically, in epidemiology, we say the outbreak is over.
Okay.
That is how we declare an outbreak is over.
So why didn't we do that?
But globally, the discussion has been going on, how do we classify and then have different ways of managing COVID. So for example, if you look at Blue East, for the past almost more than 6 days, we have not recorded a case. We are not recording cases. So technically, you will state, and COVID is different, you will state that, look, the outbreak is over. These are scientific laid down process of declaring an outbreak and therefore informing almost every decision. So based on what you have at that moment, then you can decide that, look, this is what we are seeing. This is the nature of the virus. This is the incubation period. And then looking at the context that we have, then we can say, look, we can decide to relax in these areas and that areas, and then look at the whole picture. You also bear that we also stated emphatically that, look, though we are going to relax in this aspect, the thinking was that we gave a caveat that by the end of June, this number of us should have been vaccinated. So the idea is that, and looking at the way we have, all of us have behaved concerning adhering to protocols, mass gatherings, the best option for the country now is for majority of us to really get the vaccines.
And that's why I'm asking, why the Ghana Health Service has slowed down on that drive. And also, we didn't hear anything about booster vaccines and how people who had already taken the vaccines earlier could get the booster vaccines after 6 months. We are hearing this from other persons who aren't part of the Ghana Health Service. And so I'm asking, knowing very well that this was the way to go, why aren't we seeing that energy that preceded the introduction of vaccines into the country?
We have had 3 cycles of NID, National Immunization Days, for only COVID. In fact, we just came from 1 week. We started on the 8th of June, and we are ending, we were supposed to end yesterday. We are going to do mop-ups for 2 other days for those who couldn't catch the targets. Not only that, we have done other 2 NID days. So we are doing, in fact, if I'll share some pictures. Some of the districts, we go there in the evenings when people have returned from their farms to be able to get them. So we are really vaccinating, and then on on campaign spree. Just that the media landscape and what has caught the attention has been less of COVID, but at the service we are actually vaccinating. And the current one that we did, Blue East, we were able to hit almost 50% of the target. So in terms of the campaign we are doing, in terms of those that we are supposed to give the boosters, we have stated those who qualify for the boosters. All health workers are also qualified, and people who are having other comorbid more than 60 are also qualified, and pregnant women. So we are doing the campaign all right. Our challenge has been, for us, the pregnant women, and then the other age groups, initially less than 18, who were not part of it. You see, when we started the campaign, and the rate at which we were campaigning that, look, pregnant women are not part, people less than 18 are not part. When the research actually came out to say, look, it's safer for them to receive, and actually the benefits far outweigh the side effects, the other challenges that they will have if they don't have. It's difficult for them to now even come on board. And they're having that thinking that, look, we were not part of it, but they are part of it. So if you look at the dynamics of what we're having at Bunois, the challenge has been with that age band, pregnant men, and then less than 18. That's where we are having the challenge.
Because it's good that you raised the issue of pregnant women and children, because quite recently we've seen the concerns, especially in schools. I mean, we did a paper review this morning, a school in Kaswa having to close down over COVID scare. And so I appreciate that you brought in the bit of concern when it comes to children being vaccinated. But let me bring in Mr. Nora at this point. So you said we anticipated this, and so it's not a surprise to you. So where do we go from here? What are we likely to see if people still do not adhere to the protocols and receive the vaccinations that we are encouraging them to?
Right. So if you noticed, our neighboring countries are still also recording cases, and our borders have been opened, our land borders as well. So there's movement, free movement around the borders. So technically, most people, the virus will not, who have the infection will not still show symptoms. So they cross in the borders, and then they are able to transmit or infect others. So we are importing cases as well. And then also, if you check the data from the airport that we are still testing, there are some few cases that are still being imported. These ones are adding up to the ones that we had locally, that we were seeing local transmissions and picked by the routine surveillance. And like Dr. Adumaku rightly mentioned, the routine surveillance one, we're seeing 0 cases for a prolonged period of time. But the people who were coming into the country, who were tested positive, and who some were not going through the test, were able to shed the infections. And once we began to gather, churches, schools, the marketplaces, and all of that, with the rains coming in, a single case could propagate the cases. And that was some of the issues that we needed to make sure that at least the education that we started with the energy and the media coming in, we are still able to educate the people. I mean, you can observe from our chop bars, the way we used to have Veronica buckets all around, hand washing, sanitizers, people sit in vehicles, and they have their sanitizers, they are careful. Now we have thrown caution to the wind, and therefore a single case. And if you observe, it started with some influenza-like illnesses across the country, and together all these are viruses. So, and the mode of transmissions are the same. So these were some of the things that when you observe, we could anticipate that yes, we're going to have some of these challenges. But the good thing was that the surveillance were put in place so we can pick them early, and then we can be able to manage the case.
So Mr. Nora, if sorry to interject, if the attitude remains the same, what are we likely to see in the coming days?
Yes, so if the attitude remains the same, we are likely to see an upward, the continuous rise in the cases and the positivity rates. So we need to really educate the people and make the public know that, yes, we have eased the restrictions, but the preventive measures should still be with us. We should continue to sanitize, we should continue to do our hand hygiene, and make sure that we have the water running through. We also make sure we are still wearing our face masks I mean, the continuous education and appeal to the public is important to make sure that we deal with the virus. And we should also be testing at all the facilities, make testing more accessible to the general public.
Okay, so let me just bring you some more statistics here. So we are comparing the mandatory era to the optional era. And as you can see here, this is March 27, 2022. There were 160,925 cases. June 11, 2022, 960 new cases added, taking the number to 161,841. Mr. Kwame Sapong-Esiedu, would you say that considering what we've just been told by the Bono East Regional Director of Health, that ideally, if this were any type of pandemic, considering the figures I showed earlier, the trend of infection, we would have declared the pandemic over. It appears that COVID is being treated very differently. So based on that, would you say that maybe we relaxed or eased our restrictions too early? Hello, Mr. Sapong-Esiedu.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes, I wouldn't say that we relaxed too early. If you look critically, at the time we were easing of restrictions. That said, Dr. Adimako is also right with the calculations that are made in epidemiological modeling when you have 0 cases. But there's one caveat there. That is on the basis that you are actively testing, especially for a respiratory disease like COVID. But because globally, it is accepted that most countries cannot actively test because testing is expensive, that particular calculation hasn't been used because there are sporadic outbreaks and spikes going on. And with the global travel arrangements and with airport restrictions eased globally, it's only a matter of time for someone to be infected in Ghana to fly to the UK or someone infected in the UK to fly to Ghana. But with all that in mind, you cannot also continually restrict the general population because apart from the economic implications of doing that, there is the psychosocial implications as well, mental health, human behavioral changes and other things, which would also harm our health system if they were done unsustainably. And therefore, at the time the restrictions were done, because we had enough vaccines available, my thought was that we were going to ramp up vaccinations. And with ramping up vaccinations, that would have meant that even if we had a spike in infections, our hospitalizations would be low. That so far is holding, like I said in my first submission, because if you look critically, even though we are having a spike in cases, we are not having a spike in mortalities, which has been the trend with all our waves, which is a good thing. Because I'm quite sure, I've not got access to the data at the minute, but I'm quite sure Dr. Adomako may be able to give us data to show that a lot of the people who are getting hospitalized fortunately have had a vaccine or 2, which then means that they have a latent ability to respond quickly compared to when COVID came and that too, the vaccine wasn't there. So that it's a very, very tricky situation when you look at it that way to say, if we are not vaccinating, then do we lock down? Or if we are not locking down, should we ramp up vaccination? The Ghana Health Service, from what Dr. Adimako is saying, is trying to do its bit. The question is, as a society, are we up and doing when it comes to vaccine uptake? I think there's still a high level of vaccine hesitancy from the little I can see, especially amongst the school-going age group, and that cohort needs to be addressed because it looks to me that the latest uptake has come. It started in that cohort and they've taken it home. And now the people with underlying conditions are picking it up and getting hospitalized, even though they are vaccinated. And so the only way we'll be able to break that chain is to actively vaccinate that age group in the schools, because they are not wearing their mask, and you know that for a fact.
Doc, the conspiracy theories haven't ended. There are those who say, oh, don't mind these health people. They're beginning to lose out a lot. They were cashing in on the virus and all the news around it. And so when the Russia-Ukraine war started, all eyes, turned away from COVID. They're doing this so that they could just cash in a bit more. And really, I mean, from the statistics we've shown, there's some who say, why the fears? Even the numbers, look at the numbers. There's really nothing to fear, is there?
No, there is. Let me do a quick myth busting. At the outset of the vaccination, we were told that the vaccines were being developed to kill us in Africa. And we heard the bro, ha, 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 ha. Now, we found out that the vaccines are safe. And in fact, the people who developed the vaccines are even vaccinating kids as young as 5 years. My son, who is 5 years, is vaccinated. Now they are saying, oh, because of the Ukraine-Korean war and with the spotlight of COVID, they have deliberately said that there are new cases. I mean, let's get real. Would these conspiracy theorists not stop at anything? Can they stick to the original story that the vaccines were developed to kill us? If they can stick to that, then we can peruse the data and say, this is the number of vaccines that have been given in Africa, and how many people have died as a result of vaccination. But if they continue to shift the goalpost, as they're doing now, then we would never be able to bust their bubble, because every time they'll have a new story. And for me, every time they have a new story, that story is not scientific. And I think that is what, as journalists, you need to be putting out. That they just shift the goalpost and they don't do science, they just do conjecture. And for me, I don't dwell in the realm of conjecture. I'm a numbers person. That is what my training gives me. And so if they want to talk the numbers, we would talk to them. But if they want to speculate, I wouldn't go into that level of conjecture with anybody, because it's not my strength.
Thank you for your time here this morning, Kwame Sapon-Isiedu is a CDD fellow. I was going to ask you what steps you should take, but you've already mentioned that. So let me move to Dr. Adomako. So here we are in a country, people getting infected, some thinking, oh, this is all conspiracy because the Ghana Health Service itself has slowed down on its vaccination drive and all that. So you say you've been having a series of meetings. What should we expect in the coming days with regards to what we just heard Mr. Sapon-Isiedu talk about? His suggestion that we should be looking at young people now, people below the ages of 18, below the initial cohorts that we were focusing on. What is the agenda of the Ghana Health Service when it comes to vaccinating those groups of people?
I think that decision will be taken by the head and then the Ministry of Health. But
so as we speak, you're saying that there's not been any meeting on how to address the issue?
Less than 18, 15, they are supposed to have the vaccines.
Okay.
Our challenge is they taking it. And that's what we are looking at, how to address that. For Bono East, the next campaign, we are just going to have another campaign. We will launch it in one of the senior high schools. Basically, we are thinking of Kintampo Senior High School.
Okay.
That's what we will do. And we are continuously engaging the other group. Last week, I was in Atebubu, Amantin. We went to almost all where we have the antenatal care clinic. I think the engagement with the pregnant women, we also will have to increase that engagement. If you're able to do that, I think the uptake will actually go up. For now, we are having about, as Kwame said, we are having 11 active cases, and almost all of them are vaccinated. We are happy with that. If you look at our figure, Abuno is now almost 50% of those who are eligible for the vaccines have been able to take it. So it means that if you take any two people, one of them is vaccinated. And if you're having all of them vaccinated, having the cases, as compared to those who are not having the cases, I think I'm happy in that vein. what we will have to continue is that we have to drive that campaign. And we are doing it. We have a lot of other even partners supporting us to be able to double up in giving the vaccines. That is the surest way to go, because the others depend more on behavior. It is difficult for somebody to always be in the mask. When it's 0, you want them even to be in the mask. When it's high, you want them to. So the best way that we can really do is that, look, let's be protected chemically, which is one of the surest way of prevention. And so we are not sleeping. Though we are not coming, we are working hard behind the doors, making sure that people will be able to get the vaccines. So the month of June is our vaccine month. And I think the Ghana Health Service is having a target of at least not less than 4 million people will be added on. So it's a drive that we are still on. That is the best bet for us. And I think we should continue. We are still going to have different ways of targeting the young people. They are strong. When they get it, they don't come down. How do we really convince them so that they will take it and protect all the rest? That is what we are thinking about.
Doc, just to be sure, the vaccines are still free, right?
Yes, please.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Fred Adomako Boateng is Bunu East Director of Health. Earlier, you heard from 2 other people, and we've been having this discussion about COVID. Kwame Sapong-Esidu is with the CDD, and Charles Nora is an epidemiologist. Unfortunately, we couldn't raise the Director of Public Health, Dr. Franklin Esidu-Bekweng, on the line. We would have wanted him to answer a few questions, especially when it comes to the next move, talking about vaccination and what our agenda is. Hopefully, when we raise him, we'll let you know what the Ghana Health Service is doing. But that will be it for our conversation this morning on COVID. Please stay safe. And remember, you can walk into the nearest health facility and ask for a vaccine. Shortly, my colleague Benjamin Akapo will be back. We'll be speaking to Musa Superior. The NPP is gearing up for its national executive elections. He'll be back to have that conversation this day.
Well, thank you for staying with us on the AM show. From COVID-19, we get into politics. We can't do without it, can we? Like we've been told by the Greek philosophers, we are political animals. Well, this morning we're hosting a man who has been there, done that, and he is seeking to become the next General Secretary of the NPP. And of course, unseat a certain John Bwedu, who is also a stalwart in that position. Musa Superior is our guest. A very good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. How do you do?
It's a pleasure having you.
Yes, good to see you.
And in response to that, one of the craziest things you can find in language, how do you do? How do you do?
How do you do?
How do you do? Right back at you.
The response has always been terrible. You know, people find it very difficult to get that.
Yeah. I have a friend who intentionally responds, I do fine. Just to, not that she doesn't know it, but just to. But it's a pleasure having you, and hopefully we can have a very fluid conversation on the MPP and other matters arising within your party. But as to start it all off, you have been CEO of Tamale, the metropolis. You are now Deputy Chief Executive Officer at the Forestry Commission, and you're gunning for the General Secretaryship position. I'm looking at the trajectory. What made you want to get into this? I'll look at other things surrounding the MPP before I get into that, but I don't want to forget. What made you even want to take this up?
Service to the party.
Service to the party.
Every MPP person should be looking forward to looking for an opportunity to serve our party. It's a great party, founded by very great people with certain specific values. Today we are where we are today because of the party, and the growth of the party has been quite progressive. And if you think you have the capability and the capacity to help their party grow and to help their party to become purposeful and meaningful, I think that you should make yourself available to serve their party. So that's the reason why I want to take a party job, and looking forward to working with their party closely and other officers of their party so that we can get our party back to order.
Back to order?
Yes, back to order for the crucial battle ahead of us in 2024. I mean, we cannot go into this election with this current state of our party. No, we need to get the party well, and that is why I am not very excited about this mantra. We're breaking the 8. I think that we're jumping the gun. We've got to get ourselves properly organized, do a lot of talking, have a proper conversation so that, we can now talk about 2024.
All right. So like I intimated earlier, I just wanted to clear that out of the way because I really wanted to start with you about the overarching issue of the MPP and where you are currently. So we've moved from the polling station elections to the constituency elections, regional elections, which had its own problems like we saw in the central region. And now we're gearing up next June for July.
Yes.
For the big one, which is where we would have the party bigwigs and later on also the presidential aspirants getting their groove on. But when you look at the MPP currently, what do you see?
The MPP has always been the greatest political party in the history of Ghana. In fact, our tradition...
In the history of Ghana?
In the history of Ghana.
Compared to what?
Our tradition has been the greatest. In fact, the transition founded Ghana. The leadership of the Buza Dombo tradition founded Ghana.
They did?
Yes, we did. I mean, of course it was led
What happened to the CPP? Is the CPP that won our independence?
The CPP was born out of the Buza Dankwa tradition. And remember, it was led by JB Dankwa. And we are very, very inclusive. We have our personality, our persona, the way we think.
I'm not talking about the UGCC. I get the point you're making about the CPP being birthed from. But there is a group that led the fight to our independence. It wasn't
we recruited, the leadership of the UGCC recruited the personality who led the independence struggle. And this is the narration I'm trying to communicate.
Right.
So the tradition itself is Ghana. We founded Ghana. We got other Ghanaians abroad who had skills and who could support the struggle for emancipation. We brought them, and it tells you how selfless the tradition has been, because Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah was abroad, and we thought that he was a very talented person, very skillful and strategic, so we brought him on board. But, whatever happened now is history. But we all know, it is on record that the struggle for Ghana's independence and for Ghana's emancipation started with a group called UGCC, and it was led by JB Dankwa.
So you say the MPP is the party with the best tradition, so to speak,
Absolutely.
The greatest tradition.
Quite democratic, open, with certain clear values: liberty, democracy, transparency.
The Nkrumah's tradition still lives. It's just that they've not lived up to expectation.
Of course. we encourage
the PNC,
competitive.
The CPP, the PPP.
Our party encourages competitive democracy.
Right.
The only way we can strive and deliver as a country is to be able to disagree to agree. And in disagreeing to agree, of course, you want all other political parties to thrive and do well. So we are very, very happy that there is competition going on, because if there is no competition, the democracy is zero. That's dictatorship.
Yeah, but talking about the state of the MPP, just a few months ago, about 5 months ago, you said out of your own mouth that the MPP is very sick.
I think that the headline was misleading. I said the MPP is unhealthy. I didn't say the MPP was sick.
Unhealthy, sick. But the value is the same.
This is physiological analysis. I said, if I said unhealthy, it means that the structures of the party were weak. We didn't have leadership. There was no direction. And that's exactly what I said. And it's still the same story. And if we want to deliver this mantra, breaking the 8 in 2024, I think that we should do a lot of soul searching and revert back and do a lot of work so that we can get our party administratively correct and politically huge, so that we can mobilize and re-energize the base of their party for the onslaught. It's not going to be an easy thing, and I will disappoint.
You foresee it's going to be pretty tough in 2024?
In fact, it will be the toughest election in my judgment, in the history of Ghana, you saw what happened.
In the history of Ghana,
yes,
not the history of the Fourth
Republic.
Republic.
No, in the history of Ghana. I mean, there's not going to be any election that is going to, of course, that's my judgment. People can debate that. But you saw what happened in 1992. In 1992, the MPP was very young. You remember we were founded on the 28th of July, 1992, and by December, we were called into an election. And in that election, we won it, and it was stolen. That's how we published a document, the stolen verdict. Look at the kind of mobilization.
You concur with that, that analogy or that,
of course, we
line of thought that it was stolen.
Jerry Rawlings, may his soul rest in peace, was a very brutal dictator. Everybody was afraid of him. He came strongly.
He was a Democrat at that point. And he beat you again in 1996.
We saw the acts of dictatorship. He wasn't a Democrat. He was then returning the country into democracy, and he was being forced by the international community to do so. So he had to announce a plan to introduce our country in democracy. When we went for the elections, we won it, and that was the biggest political mobilization led by Professor Dubois-Hin and Ajeni Mboatin. And that's the kind of mobilization we need for 2024. And before
let's talk about, so you're talking about the fact that the party is unhealthy. I still feel unhealthy, sick. they are like bedfellows. But some have said that the leadership of your party, from chairman to general secretary, vice chair people, general secretary, going down, organizers and all of that they have failed, and that they should all step aside for fresh blood. Is that something you agree with, from the chairman all the way to the bottom?
I agree with them 100%.
All of them should go.
In fact, this project, the People's Campaign, one of our key objectives is to try and advocate for some brand new type of leadership. Because, I mean, we can see the lack of purpose and the lack of foresight in the current leadership. And that is why today the MPP is struggling. I tell you, if you go around the country in all the 275 constituencies, you will understand that this party needs indefatigable, strong, purposeful leadership so that we can get our people together and then we can redefine the
Let me ask you this pointed question. Do you feel because these people, like John Boydu, whom you're contesting for the general secretaryship slot, like Freddie Wasimu Blay and others, do you feel if by and large they are retained, wholesale, let's say all of them are retained or most of them are retained, do you feel that could bode ill for the MPP in election?
They're not going to get retained.
No, but if they were?
In fact, they are not going to get retained.
If they were?
I'm not prepared to answer this question because it's not going to happen. The way you want it answered, it will not be answered that way. Because it's not going to happen.
But you see, we can draw certain analogies. You say the party is unhealthy. You say these people are simply not doing the right thing. So they've left the party in, you could say the elephant is rather shaky.
And
it's not what an elephant would be.
Why, my good
so
friend,
if they are retained, it simply means in 2024,
it is on the basis,
breaking the 8 will be problematic.
It is on the basis of this that they will never get retained. I'm telling you, the party people are very, very angry and they are not very happy. So they want a fresh kind of leadership that can encourage and re-recruit those who have silently left this party so that we can get our party ready and strong to mobilize the rest of the Ghanaian people for 2024. And
which brings me to my next question, because you see, you seem to be speaking from a certain standpoint. The people will choose, supposedly, those who are right for the position. We also know about the role of money in your politics and how people supposedly bamboozle their way into office. Now, in case you missed all of it, in your regional elections, people giving out 1,000 CDs, 10,000 CDs, supposedly vehicles and promises of scholarships and all of that. I mean, all that is there. Are you blind to that? Because that could win the elections for some people, whether or not they are fit to be in those positions. Is that something you admit?
I haven't seen anybody giving money, but I've heard.
You haven't?
Did
you hear Adeneho in the regional election talking about the fact that he would give out scholarships to this and that? Did you hear that?
I have heard that monies were dished out, but I haven't seen. And because I don't have evidence, I don't want to talk about
people have to swear. You know, you take the money, you swear.
If it is true that these things happen, then they are very ugly and unhealthy and terrible.
Musa, hold on.
Of our party,
let's do this. You can't, you can't, so to speak, pretend that you've never heard.
I have
many years ago.
Oh, I said I've heard.
So you don't know.
But I haven't seen. To be honest with you, I haven't seen anybody giving anybody money, but I have heard. And I've heard significantly this speculations and rumors going around the country. In fact, some members of their party have spoken directly on national television and on radio to regret or to denounce these activities that we saw in the last regional elections across the country. But I haven't seen, and therefore I can come on national radio and talk to issues that I haven't seen, I don't know. But if that is true, if what has been said repeatedly by members of our party is correct, then I condemn it in the strongest term. I think that if people continue to do this party will retrogress. The founders of this party, the likes of B.J. Daroch and Alajete and Co., and even the former, the president of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Dodenko Kufuor and John Kufuor, they founded this value on certain key values. And I'm thinking in the conversation I had told you, liberty, diversity, democracy, elections, and competition. And these values is the value that should be leading everybody. So if you go and you contradict this value, you do things that are not acceptable in the light of things in the MPP organizational behavior, then of course you are undermining.
You seem to be an island in a rather vast territory, because it appears all around you, the very things you're saying are not MPP, are NPP, undemocratic, party.
Yeah, but
those are the very things that are pertaining.
When people
and
do
those
that,
things, you know why that is interesting for me? Because you feel you are good for the job, but that can impact you getting that position.
When people do that, we need to condemn them. If it is true that such a thing is happening, like I said to you, I mean, these are all things that can undermine this party. They are Jenim Boateng's party, the party of the large. And that's why we are encouraging
You're
our
talking
party.
about the former PPA boss?
No, the former general secretary of the party, the one who was general secretary in 1992. I'm sure that you have just gotten educated about.
No. It's because I felt at the point you are referring to
Jenim Boateng's party.
Jenim Boateng.
I mean, he was the first general secretary of the MPP. I mean, from the Buzia Dankwa to the first MPP. He became general secretary when Professor Dubois was our presidential candidate in 1992. I mean, his famous quote of the MPP of the large is what we should look at, so that people should not try and narrow this party. And by narrowing this party mean buying your way in. We need to compete with ideas and allow our delegates to choose the most competent, most efficient, and most capable people for the job. But if you come, and I'm speaking directly to the delegates, I'm speaking directly to them. If you allow yourself to be bought, you will not have any moral right to want to regret over the failure of people who have bought you.
But right now, you see, they'll tell you that, like Sir John famously said, fear delegates. No, and the point is, now some of them openly, brazenly tell you, look, the goodies, once they get there, you will not get anything. So we'll get our piece of cake now. If it's the 10,000 you're giving me or something, they say they'll take that. If you get there and you don't do anything,
I don't have any evidence about this money thing you are talking
I'm just
about.
saying.
I know our party is a competitive party, and we have come out strongly after every election, whether it is a polling station election, an electoral era election, a parliamentary primary or presidential primary. We're gonna gather in Accra at the Accra Sports Stadium in the middle of July. And we are going to undertake this important democratic exercise to choose our leaders. I know, and I've been going around the country and having a conversation with the party people. I've been telling them my 10-point plan and my strategy to reasset our party and make it stronger, so that when we go into the election campaign, we know that we have the right tools to do the campaign and to win the 2024 elections.
So let me just avert to your mind, since we're talking history as well, that J.B. Dankwa was only second vice of the UGCC. So it doesn't necessarily make him the leader of the party.
Oh no, he was a de facto leader.
But
you know, he was.
We have de jure and de facto.
He was a de facto leader.
De jure, that was his position.
I mean,
but let's move the conversation.
I'm happy you're getting all these facts right. But nobody can deny the fact that this man is the doyen of Ghanaian politics. Whether he was the leader or the vice.
A doyen, not the doyen.
Yeah, a doyen of course. The doyen. That is your phrase, and that's not mine. Mine is the doyen of Ghanaian politics. But if you want, are you able to tell me another person who can competitively match with J.B. Dankwa? Then we can have that debate.
But even in your tradition, you talk of Dombo, don't you?
But I'm telling you, Dombo came after J.B. Dankwa. That's a fact. Nobody can take it away from him. Solid brand. Somebody who has brought proper rendition to Ghanaian politics.
Is the MPP living out the tenets of JB Dankwa today? Just briefly.
I'm not too sure about that. And
You're not too sure about that?
That is why I want to be General Secretary.
All right. Let's talk about the money and politics bit that we've started. So
you keep talking about it.
No. Hold on. Because you seem to be oblivious to the fact that it's happening. That's the picture you're painting. But I'm just trying to, find out from you. Is that to say that ahead of July, what is your campaign strategy? I mean, is it going to involve, because these delegates, there are different things that sometimes must be done here and there. Are you not going to pump any money into these ventures?
No, the People's Campaign.
The People's Campaign?
Yes, of which I'm the leader. I'm the chief executive of the People's Campaign, which is supporting the Musa Superior bid for General Secretary. Our job is we go to the people and tell them our vision and tell them that we need proper offices in our constituencies. We are telling the people that every communications officer should have a computer and an internet so that they can communicate well. You have to do proper research to communicate. Any form of communication that is street-like is not going to help the party. We're talking about how we are running the party from bottom to top and making sure that the presence of national executive officers in the various constituencies in the mandate period is key. I mean, in the last 4 years, there is no evidence that a national executive officer was delegated to a constituency to undertake a working tour. Listen to that phrase, working tour. We're going to change that. We're going to do an activity plan. I'll be announcing a 3-monthly activity plan. And the decision to do that is to be able to mobilize the needs and the challenges of our party people in the countryside. And that will mean that we will get the needs assessment. And when you get the proper needs assessment, you're able to put up a solution plan. And with the solution plan, you're able to cure the problems of the party even before the campaign season. I don't believe that a party should be active, should be stronger, should be vociferous in campaign seasons. People are elected for a mandate period.
You should do your work before the campaign season.
Absolutely. That is the way you are leadership. So that by the time the campaign season arrives, you are already prepared. Whatever you are going to do in the campaign season is going to be a bonus. You cannot disregard and abandon the party structures, leave them, and then in the campaign season, you're going to...
Is that what is happening now?
That is absolutely what is happening. The party structures have been totally disregarded. And I've told you, I mean, I have been to 107 constituencies since December 14th. And the stories I hear about this party make me sometimes cry. How come
the stories you hear about the MPP?
I'm telling you, people are very upset. Why is it that up till now we don't have a welfare plan? People have voluntarily joined the party. They've worked so hard for this party. The party has been in power for the last 5 years. Yet there's no welfare plan. In fact, there's no token reward. Damboche gave us certificates after the 2000 elections, certificate of honor. Every polling agent, every constituency officer, and key strategic officers of the party in the various constituencies around the country we're giving certificates. Today, I'm always proud walking around the country with a certificate showing to the people what the great Daniel Boche did for us. Even a computer-generated letter. And this current executive couldn't even give the last executive, who are no longer the majority of the last constituency executive, have been sacked. If we are not careful, they're not going to go into the ground. And for me, that is quite shameful. It's not good. I mean, when people work hard for you, you have been here working for multimedia, you're doing everything, you come to work, probably with poor pay. And when you are no longer there, probably, I said probably with poor pay. And when you are no longer here, multimedia should plan for you. I mean, there should be a plan. Yeah. So we should be modernizing the way we run political parties in Ghana, so that we can reward people. You cannot have 4,675 constituency officers who are the anchors of their party in the various constituencies. They do almost 80% of the job. National officers just provide leadership, direction, and logistics and finance. The regional officers then provide...
So those are the core.
They are the core. They do the job.
They do the job. They are not being recognized.
For example, I was in Kranza South, and I was amazed to hear that they have 99 communities. One single constituency with very, very far reasonable travel distance. And these constituency officers are going to be working and mobilizing their votes. We win an election, and then there is no plan. There is evidence that there haven't been any conversation with party officers by this current national executive to empower them. And when Dr. Kwame Nkrumah says organization decides everything, organization decides everything. Of course, it was relevant those days. It's no longer relevant today. It is empowerment. You empower the people, and then they use the social authority they have to organize. If you have more social authority in your community, you are more likely to recruit non-MPP people into your party than somebody who doesn't have a social authority.
Point made, and it's a crucial point you make. But on the back of these failures on the part of your party and its leadership currently, if we held elections today, and let's say, because at least the writing on the wall is that as of now, a certain John Dramani Mahama, former president, seems to be in pole position, though we know Dr. Kwabena Dufo is also giving him a stiff challenge. And from your end, we have a likely, I mean, there's a pool of people, but those that, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Baumia, Alan Chamating seem to be those two that likely would one of whom would get the slot. I'm just saying. If the NDC went toe-to-toe with the MPP today, do you feel your party would win?
The honest truth is that it will be difficult. You cannot win an election with a weak party. It doesn't matter who you...
I've heard one of your executives recently, one of your staunch party members, I'm just trying to recollect his name. He said, honestly, no.
No, that is his answer.
Your party would lose.
My answer will be difficult. The reason why it will be difficult is that...
Is it even possible?
Is it possible? Because we will excite our people. Some of us will come in the front and get the mobilization we had in 19... I told you, the only way we can win is to get the kind of mobilization we did in 1992. And today, the apathy and the level of, in fact, the overwhelming despondency in their party is making it quite unable, making the party quite unable to be able to get the kind of mobilization we had in 1992. So if we were to go to for an election today, it will be really, really, really difficult for our party. And that is why this bid is so critical for our party people. That's why they love it. That's why they're giving me support all over the place. And that's why probably I'll win this election by 70%.
Probably you win this election by 70%. That's a bit of a stretch, isn't it? I mean, the likes of Obiri Boahen, himself a deputy, people felt he would go for it and that he had the best chance of unseating John Boadu. He decided to, say, I'm no longer going to do this, and he has thrown his weight behind one of the presidential aspirants. Let's save that for later. We'll talk about all of that. But there are others who are also, the rest of you seem to be weak, according to articles that I've read, that you are weak. You are just showing face. But in the end, John Boadu is going to win, and he's going to give a thrashing to you guys. Do you have what it takes to topple John Boadu?
I'm not going to get involved into this limbless propaganda. The party people will take that decision. Whatever, all these things people are talking about, we have seen this open-close strategy being pushed out there by certain people to get certain...
Who are these people?
Oh, of course, the General Secretary is one of them. He's going around the country and manipulating our regional chairman.
Manipulating your regional chairman?
Of course, he is manipulating our regional chairman.
Is it because he's close to Chairman Wood to me? Is it because others are...
No, because they have done things they should not do. If you are a party executive, you should always seek the interest and the cohesion of this party. That's why you have been elected by a party executive.
But if you scratch my back, I scratch yours. No, it is obvious that there was some support system, John Boadu for Wontumi. So Wontumi would also support John Boadu. That is why
this party must come. We must get the regularity of this party back. This you scratch my back, I scratch your back. It's alien. We run a competitive election. Even if you are supported, the best thing you can do is also to support the person quietly. But if 5 people are contesting elections and you are a party chairman of a region, and you decide to publicly make a statement and support A, you see, what you have done is that you have undermined the unity of the party. If the person you have publicly supported fails, and another person comes, and this person is not a deeply rooted MPP person, he would want to undermine your work because you are answerable to him. He's the chief executive of the party. You are the regional chairman. And if this person is not a good-to-go NDC MPP person, he would seek to undermine you. And that would mean that the party will be undermined. And that is why it is very dangerous for senior elected officers. If you are a minister and you are not an elected person and you make a public declaration, I don't mind. You get me? If you are a regional minister and then you make a declaration, I don't mind. You are appointed by the government. You are a government official. But if you are an elected officer of the party, you become the property of the party.
How then? Let me just digress just a little bit, and we'll come back to your contest. But how then do you react to Obri Boahen? He's basically thrown his weight behind Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, the vice president, basically ahead of the candidacy or those who are going to contest the slot as flag bearer. He is an elected representative within the party system.
I have just told you that we have to conduct ourselves well as the party, especially when you are an officer of the party. I think that these things are not very good. People should reason. Nobody, if you are supporting A or B, you can do that quietly. You can finance the person. You can talk to people. You can put up a strategic plan for the person. You can contribute without this noise. The noise is just getting too much. When you are an officer of the party, you should be disciplined. I don't accept and I totally reject any elected officer or appointed officer to work for our party to publicly declare support for anybody, whether the person is contesting for general secretary or is contesting for MP.
We've heard some ministers suggest that, Dr. Bawumia is, looking at what he has done. We've had party leadership, like I just said. Of course. Of course.
Does
that mean the center is not holding, things are falling apart?
No, of course, Dr. Bawumia is a huge person. Anybody who underrates Dr. Bawumia in this Ghanaian MPP project, then of course, probably you don't know where you're coming from. But that is not the point. The point is that if you are an elected officer of their party, an appointed officer of their party, I don't think it is right that you make a public statement supporting anybody. Yes, senior members, elders of their party, ministers of state, of course, they are no longer officers of the. If you are a former officer of their party, of course, you can publicly say who you want, you can publicly work for. But in the interest of their party, and for the cohesion and unity of their party, it is critical that we all restrain ourselves so that we can get the party, the competition fairly. At the end of the day, if Mr. A is choosing the general secretary, Mr. B is choosing the national chairman, etc., then of course we can work together and then do the proper project. This thing we are doing is called intra-party policy to try and make the party healthy and strong and purposeful and winnable. The proper fight or the proper
So basically, this is the battle. The war is in 2024.
In fact, I love that. You have added some knowledge to me. So that's the battle. So the war is what I am targeting. And that is why I want to come out this contest so that the party will be united.
All right. John Boydo is also aspiring to do same. If you followed his recent launch, the campaign and all of that. And again, party bigwigs were there. Wontumi was there, among a lot of other party bigwigs who seem to be throwing their support behind him. That leaves you in the high waters. But the point is, he's taken some pot shots.
Yeah, but before that, can I just make look, whatever happened in that campaign launch, I don't have a problem with it. But I want to let everybody know that if you are a party bigwig, so for example, Professor Michael Quay, an elder of their party, he's not an officer of their party. He has every right to say, John Boydo is the right person, let's vote for him. But Professor Michael Quay is a single Ghanaian. Right. And you are the MPP delegate. You are a Ghanaian. If he has a vote, probably as a member of the National Council of Elders, he has one vote, and you have one vote. As Professor Michael Quay is endorsing him.
It's significant if a former Speaker of Parliament is giving credence to this person.
It is not. How can it be significant? He has only one vote. You have one vote.
But it's what it represents. It's the symbolism.
We all represent, look, even the polling station officer, for me, they are one of the most important category of people in the party. Everybody is somebody in this party. Right. So if you are a senior member of the party and you endorse a particular candidate, I don't have a problem. The problem I have is when you are an elected officer of the party, and you have a mandate between now and the next 4 years, that point, you shouldn't be conducting yourself in that manner.
John Boydo has taken pot shots at some of the rest of you as well. And at some point, you've had reason to respond to him, quoting you in one of your interactions. In fact, if I were the general secretary of the party, I would resign. It is an indictment. It is a total mess. Can't you see the mess that is happening, that the NDC is now happy to bully and intimidate us? We're struggling to pass our economic work program and budget just because we have a hung parliament. And
absolutely.
This is a few months ago when,
yes,
and that situation still is relevant, because you're even saying that anybody who says that the MPP is a healthy party is lying to himself, because a healthy party cannot lose a significant number of seats in Parliament.
And this is consistent. That has been my rendition. And I will continue to make the case. And you saw what happened when we were passing this innovative government policy, e-levy. Today, what the e-levy is doing for Mother Ghana, everybody's happy. We're raking in the money, and we're going to use the money to do...
What has the e-levy done so far?
Of course, we are raking in the money.
We've had people here and asked them questions. Nothing has been... Are you aware? Are you aware?
We are raking in the money.
In April, right before May, and I could just check my phone because I have some of these details.
Yes.
Do you know, I think over 300,000, of these agents' accounts and all of that were lost. We've actually bled money since April.
You cannot have such a huge policy and think that you should just start it off without a problem. The National Health...
Yeah, but you're talking about...
No,
I'm not disputing that, but you're talking about the fact that we're making so much gains and we're even seeing the benefit of it.
It is raking in the money, but I'm telling you,
so far
this is a policy and it's going to be a progressive policy we are pushing. We just started. So definitely... all the challenges in the policies, we're going to be working on them. And we are not even going to get everything sorted out. Right. No, every single day we work on them. The National Health Service in Britain is over 70 years old. It's one of the most efficient health services in the world. But they still have problems. We started the National Health Insurance here. This is a problem. Free education comes. Every huge beneficial policy will have little challenges. And it is for the government to work through those challenges and make sure that they've addressed those challenges. But e-levy is super because you cannot deny the fact that e-levy is not raking in some money for our country. You cannot deny that because it's been reported. And we also had the leadership.
The toll booths were raking in money for our country.
That one
over 200,000 CDs a day. We decided to scrap them.
I didn't agree with it.
You didn't agree with it?
Of course, I have spoken publicly about it. It was not a very wise decision, but I don't know how this was arrived at. I thought that we should have left it. But that is not the reason we are here. Let's talk about politics and talk about my being general secretary.
So, going back to that, you have said that John Boadu as chief scribe has lost his relevance. What makes you, correct me if I'm wrong, in terms of the party structures, you've never been in a poll leadership position. You've been chief executive of the Tamale Metropolis. Now you're deputy CEO of the Forestry Commission. But in terms of the party proper, you've never really had any pivotal position. Now you're going toe-to-toe with someone who has been there, done that, led the party to win elections, and you're saying he is not relevant and that you are more relevant?
Yeah, he's not. Because if he was...
What makes you more relevant?
Because I have a plan, and I have communicated the plan to the party people, and they have bought into the plan. I have told the party people that the spirit of the party headquarters is gone. We need to bring it back. Without the spirit, we cannot get the vigor.
What took the spirit away?
It's gone because of maladministration and structural deficiencies in the party. How do you have a party headquarters and a lot of officials of the party, in fact, many officials of the party, when you go to the party headquarters, you don't see them come to work. And it has to take a senior member of the party, Ajia Fati, to make a public statement and got concerned about this activity. Their place of work is the party headquarters. The job of the general secretary is the most senior, most functional job of the party. And therefore, you've got to start your day at the party headquarters and end your day there, provided you are not traveling or you are not in a meeting outside the party headquarters or you are unwell. Otherwise, you've got to be there. And when you are there, it means that you make the administration super. And then you encourage party people to come around and have discussions with you and tell you challenges they have. Political party management is common sense. Competence is key. Capacity is key. But I'm telling you, if you use the commonsensical approach, you're going to get things done.
Does John Boadu not have the common sense?
Done properly.
Does John Boadu not have the common sense to
that is what you are saying. I don't denigrate.
That's why I'm using a negative.
I don't denigrate.
Does he not?
No,
because you want to take over this position.
I am telling you that I'm going to use a commonsensical approach. And the approach is that...
Which if you want to draw lines, means that he is not using a commonsensical approach.
That is not what I said. That is not what I said. If I believe he didn't have common sense, I would have said it.
But you want to unseat the person. You say he is not relevant. He's not doing the work.
Of course, I said he's not relevant, and I agree. Because, I mean, if we had this sweet super win in 2016 and to this poor abysmal win in 2020, it tells you that you will struggle. It tells you that you are not the right person to lead the onslaught. Like you said, the battle required a new strategy, It requires a new vision. It requires a new idea. It requires new energy. It requires people who can get to their people and re-recruit them and encourage them and reassure them that they will not be left when we win election. And that's the kind of leadership, that's the kind of style I'm going to introduce when I become General Secretary of the MPP.
Let me ask you this. So in 2018, Poster Benefson, and you can hate him or like him, but he gets it right sometimes, he doesn't at other times. He said that anyone hoping to unseat the likes of John Bwedu or Asiedun Ketia would have to start really early because, look, it's going to be Herculean. We saw the last time when Koku Anyidoho tried. The bull got bitten by the mosquito. For you, looking at the trend, I mean, when you started and what Benefson says, don't you feel you're starting late?
I respect him. He's a very, very intelligent man, but I disagree with him. You know, you saw how Obama started and you saw what happened in America. You saw how Company Japan started and you saw what happened in 2004. So it's not like that. It's your strategy and the way you get to the people, how you communicate with them, how you make them believe that what you are bringing on board is what is going to provide a platform for us to leap hugely so that we can get our party together, put the pieces together, fix the challenges so that the electioneering campaign would be done well. That is it. And I started this on the 14th of December. I have traveled to all the constituencies more than any other contender all together in this race. Whereas people go and to particular town centers and invite constituency officers from around to come around, I have been doing constituency to constituency. And I have done 107. In fact, the last constituency I did yesterday was Okankwe South. Right. That summed up to 107 constituencies. And I tell you that people feel valued. And I've been telling them they should reject this idea of calling them. And if they are listening, I'm repeating it to them. When people want your vote, they shouldn't decide the interview venue. They should come to you. And when they come to you, the moment you set off to go to the constituency, you begin to understand the geopolitics and the geography of the area. And that is going to actually help you when you become General Secretary.
Tell me, should you get the nod to be General Secretary, Chief Scribe, CEO, if you like, of the MPP, what changes are you going to bring about? Give me 3 major things that you plan on changing in the MPP.
Number one, we've got the first one, which is my priority, is to empower party people. Find a way to empower party people. As General Secretary, you remain the chief lobbyist of party officers. You've got to find the opportunities for them. You've got to open up. And one of the ways you can do this well is to try and make sure that there's a very, very solid relationship between the government and the party, especially at the local level, MMDCs and constituency executives. So there's an empowerment scheme. And that is why I will be spending a little under 50 million Ghana cedis so that we can then empower people. We're thinking of announcing a 50 million token plan for our constituency officers around the country. And every constituency officer will receive an amount of 10,000 Ghana cedis through a directorate that I'll be proposing to the National Steering Committee to establish. It's called the Business Development Directorate. So that the Business Development Directorate will get this money. We will give this money to our constituency officers, and then they will be coached, supervised, and trained how to use the money. If the money is given to you and you use it to buy a good suit or perfume or give it to your girlfriend, it means that you will have to join, you will have to be last in the queue. You have to rejoin the queue so that we empower them. Right. This is number one. Number two, we have to have a welfare plan. We don't have one. So when party people are in trouble, there is this informal policy of everybody for himself, God for us all. A very serious, forward-looking political party should have a plan for its party people so that when somebody has an admission to enter university, the party is available to help. If somebody is sick, we are available to help. Right. If you have a funeral, we are. So we are going to do a welfare plan. And finally, I'm going to introduce the infrastructure and logistics department. So we have to restructure the HQ and bring in, how can you run a party without a logistics department? Yet when you are running a campaign, you have a logistics department. So all these things are new ideas that we are going to bring on board so that the logistics department will be responsible in making sure that we have logistics in our various places. Then the infrastructure. We don't have offices. And I want to commend a number of MPs who have built fantastic offices for their constituencies in their country. Aiko, you are great people. And I pray that your colleagues would emulate you. But building a party office is not the job of the MP.
Right.
It is the job of the party. Look at our party.
So that's something else you're going to do?
Absolutely. Look at our party headquarters today. Can I just make this point?
Right.
If you go to Kokomlemle today and take a picture of that office, and I want you to do that for me, and then you go to Adabraka and take a picture of that office.
You're comparing the MPP to the NDC.
You will understand who is a serious party.
You're comparing the MPP to the NDC.
Absolutely.
You're saying the NDC's office and structures are better.
The NDC built their office on the watch of males when they were in government. They didn't build it when they were in opposition. We are in government for 5 years. I have not heard any conversation initiated by the current leadership of their party to build an office. And that office does not represent the MPP.
Okay.
Thank you for making that point. Poor infrastructure.
In the next few minutes, let's say we have about 7 minutes, right? Yes. I want us to make the most of the time. Let's elevate the conversation. So beyond you, the party officers, the next step is the presidency and who gets the nod.
Yeah, sure.
Some have, spoken for Alan Chabanting on the back of happenings in the past, promises by the current president, and then his contesting the president at a point and everything fizzled out. And there's also the bit about we need someone of northern extraction. Since Liman, we've had vice presidents, yes, Aliu Mahama, Dr. Baumia himself, but not as president. How do you respond? Do you feel, especially as you are of northern extraction as well, do you feel it is high time we gave someone of that stock?
I'll be delighted if we have
of the Dumbo stock, if you like.
I'll be delighted and be very proud. And I'll see that there's meaning in the MPP if an opportunity is given to a northern.
But we've also had John Mahama. We've had John Mahama.
I think I need to answer this question. It is important. It's a very, very important question. So if an opportunity is given to a northerner in our party,
in our
party to become president, I think that it will be fantastic. But it is the people who take the decision, the delegates, the polling station executives. The over 100,000 people take that decision, and everybody must respect that. So that any decision our people take is what we're going to use. So we're going to rely on them. And if the democratic...
Some people have said that your party, yes, you will, so to speak, use, and I'm just referring to what others have said. You would use people of other parts, especially those of northern extraction, to get your goals, but to get to that get past that final hurdle where they become president.
It's false.
You would never get there.
In fact, it is the NDC that says that it's false.
I've heard members of your party say
no, whatever they are saying, they are not truthful to themselves. If you are an ethnic group in their party and you think that you are not being given an opportunity to work hard. Today, I want to be General Secretary, and I'm from the northern region. I have been given all the opportunity. I have been listened to by non-northerners across the country. And every opportunity is being given to me. In fact, the leadership of my campaign, 90% of them are non-northerners.
So what happens if this time you go for those elections and the delegates vote not for?
That is the wisdom of the delegates, and everybody.
No, would it be a pointer? Would it be confirming that you are an Akan Ashanti party, and
it won't.
And that you will use others to get your ends, but you will never give them the opportunity?
I mean, this conversation we are having, I think that you have also been following bandwagon late, what the NDC are saying.
I'm not following any bandwagon. I'm following what your own people have said.
No, I don't. Who are the people saying that?
In private and in the open, yes, so overtly and covertly.
So they are hypocrites and they are cowards.
They are hypocrites and cowards.
Absolutely. Anybody who is privately trying to undermine our party, that person is a hypocrite. I am saying is that our party is a national party. In fact, this party came from the northern region, the Northern People's Party. If you know how the MPP came about, you know you are not going to underestimate
which had to be prescribed because we couldn't have parties along ethnic lines.
That's right. So it was prescribed, and we came together with the National Liberation Movement.
Right.
And you have heard of the Unlaw Youth Congress and the Unlaw Youth Organization and things like that. We came together and got the MPP back to work. And you look at the kind of people who were in the leadership, like Chief Bondo, Abefa Kabo, people like C.K. Tedem, Alaji Isifu, Mariama Sampaga, Alaji COP, Alaji Aliu Mahama. These were strong stalwarts. And then Araya Lassan, the first running mate of the MPP, was a lawyer, Araya Lassan, of blessed memory. And then we had Aliu Mahama. Aliu Mahama was also run for presidency. All the opportunities were available. But I tell you, the decision of the delegates is final. The moment the delegates, the conference, the national conference decides that
that is clear. But objectively, who would fare better for your party going against Let's assume.
It's not my decision. In fact, I'm not even a delegate yet.
Bawumia or Alan?
It is not my decision. I'm not even a delegate yet.
Does Alan deserve, after the history, does Alan deserve to get the nod?
That decision and that conversation will have to be done by the delegates. I'm not one yet. I'm seeking to be one.
Let's wrap the conversation.
If I become one, I'm sure that my input in the conversation will be meaningful if I become
some interesting bits. So I want you to wrap the conversation with these two thoughts. And then at the end, maybe the third thought, I want to find out this whole name, Superior. How did it? I've always been curious. So today, as you're in the hot seat with me, I want to find out.
Wow.
Idris Musa, the Superior, is it part of your name?
Everywhere.
Or it's an alias?
Everywhere I go, people want to know. But I tell you, let's find time, because it's going to take probably 30 minutes to tell you how I got the name.
Really?
We find time and have this discussion.
All right. So wrap the conversation with me on these very important matters, but very quickly. One, a national cathedral. And we're pumping all this money into it, 25 million. The other day, I was doing a breakdown of what we could have got in terms of paying NAPCO trainees, NSS personnel. Now we're talking about 800 CDs plus for them, but from next year. We're talking about nurses, retention. We've lost 3,000 nurses just in this year. We're talking about so many aspects, of our economic life that we could have bettered, hospitals, and so on. And we're pumping it into a national cathedral. What's your take?
We're a country of faith.
We're a country of faith, but we are not religious. We're secular.
We are a country of faith. Yes, of course. There's a national mosque. And it was actually being
who built the national mosque?
It was spearheaded by government.
It wasn't government that built
it was spearheaded by government.
It wasn't government that built.
And this one is not being built by government. Of course, you know that it's not being built.
But there is.
Hold on.
Such a chunk of seed money.
Hold on.
That seed money could have constructed the entire mosque, couldn't it?
Do you know the contribution of government to the national mosque?
I know the contribution of Turkey. I know the contribution of Turkey.
Yes, but there was a contribution by government, and you will not like to talk about it. But I will talk about it. This cathedral is not being built by the government of Ghana. It's not being built.
I never suggested that it was being built, but the point is,
being built by the government of Ghana,
if you say seed money and all of it, of course, we have no idea what the seed money would be.
And it's a very, very important icon for our country. We are not only going to use it for only Christians. It's going to be used for everybody. Conferences will be held there, big things. You've gone to the US, and the God, they've
taken God out of their schools. Things have changed. I mean,
even the dollar.
And the time they constructed their national cathedral, mind you,
yes,
they were very well advanced to develop. They did not put up a national cathedral when they were struggling to feed their own people, when they were struggling to... Do you know there are children in this country who don't even know what a computer is like?
In the next 100 years, we'll do better than them. You don't say that you're going to get advanced development before you start key development infrastructure.
But you do what is relevant before you do what is...
We have done what is
luxurious,
we have produced the free senior high school. We are employing people to work in the nation's Builders Corps.
Yeah, you can't pay. You're providing 97 pesos to feed students. 25 million could have... Do you know how many of those
I
that could
tell you
feed?
that nobody runs a government without teething problems. And these are the teething problems. But in a whole, you and I know Akufo-Addo is delivering, and he's done close to 70% of his job as one of the most efficient leaders of our country.
70% based on what?
Based on what I have seen, and you've also seen what...
Free SHS has its
global pandemic. Even under a global pandemic, we have driven through, and we have got international recognitions. We have got key officials of the World Bank and IMF talking positive about our country. We've got other heads of states.
I don't think we should go there, because the Bretton Woods institutions have also lashed you. They've flogged you.
I'm saying.
They have flayed you. So
they have.
at the end of a conversation, maybe we shouldn't go there.
I don't want you to pick and choose. You need to read the report holistically, and you see that a lot of countries were identified and were told we are better. Ghana is one of the leading countries economically in sub-Saharan Africa. Nobody can challenge that. The data is there. So Akufo-Addo is delivering, and he's going to deliver. So we should be thankful.
Even as the IMF projects that up till about 2025, our debt to GDP is going to hover around 85%.
That is why this party should work hard and choose me to become General Secretary, so that we can build a very significant monument for the president. That monument is winning the 2024 elections.
Oh, thank God for that. I mean, when you said monument for the president, I thought we were going to construct another monument, but it's winning the election. All right. That's a good one. But hey, it's been refreshing, especially for the first time hosting you.
I absolutely love your interview skills. I'm delighted you are interviewing me. Keep it up.
Thank you so much. Musa Superior, who is gunning to be General Secretary of the NPP. Pay no mind to me. This is just how I am. And from here, we wish you the very best. We look forward to more from you.
I think that from time to time I'll come around. But as I speak today, I'm heading to the office to do my official work.
All right.
Thank you.
All the best, sir.
Good to see you.
Well, this is where we draw the curtains on this one for now. But there's a lot more coming up. And of course, we'll be interacting with you on the different discussions we've been having. What is your take, Musa Superior, for General Secretary of the NPP, and as well as COVID-19? We've seen that uptick. We had that conversation at the start of the show. More coming up on the AM show. Do stay. Welcome back on the AM show. Now, there is heavy vehicular traffic on the Accra-Tema motorway as engineers from the Ghana Highways Authority have started rehabilitation work on some bridges that have failed the integrity test. Well, we have our own colleague Samuel Umbura who is there. He's been monitoring this ongoing rehabilitation and now reports. Sam, if you can hear me, please go ahead.
If you are moving from Accra to Tema, that's where the heavy traffic is.
When you are from Tema to where I'm going to work, there's huge traffic because because of the road that they are doing over there, that it's also causing traffic. So both sides, there's huge traffic on both sides.
All right, so let's also talk to this commuter who has been standing here for, a car to go to work in Tema. So what is your experience? How long have you been here?
Oh, about 1 hour now. Still, I'm not able to get a car to Tema because of the traffic. And I make call at Ashaiman. They said the diversion on the motorway is causing the whole mess. As of now, I don't know how I'll get to work. But let's see what will happen next.
It's almost 9 o'clock now, and you are supposed to get to work by what time?
I'm supposed to be at work by 7:30. Yeah, 7:30, and I left home very early, but still, because of the traffic, I'm not able to get a car.
Okay, so you heard some of the commuters here who are going to work either in Accra or Tema, who are not quite happy about the situation, where we understand the highways engineers are working on some bridges on this 19-kilometer stretch of the Accra-Tema motorway. So it's actually a situation that is, I can say, is worse, because ordinarily you will not have cars being trapped like this, moving at a slow pace on the Tema motorway at this time, because mostly the peak period is always around 6 to 7, but not always as take as it is now, as you are seeing in your shots. So it's actually going to affect productivity of those who are on this stretch. Some of them are also still waiting to get cars to their destinations, and it's quite a worrying situation here on the motorway. Let me find out from you. Hello, where are you going to?
I'm going to Tema.
You are going to Tema?
Yeah.
For how long have you been standing here?
It's about 30 minutes now.
30 minutes, and you are not getting car?
Yeah.
What do you intend to do?
Oh, nothing. I have no choice. I have to wait for the car. That means I'll be late to get to site. Yeah.
Is it usual for you or for there to be traffic like this?
No. I don't know what happened today. Yeah.
So it only started today?
Yeah.
All right. So that the traffic actually started today, and it's actually going to affect him. He's supposed to be at work, but he has not gotten any car yet. But let me find out from you two. Hello. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Where are you going to?
Tema.
You are going to Tema. From where?
From Spinters to Tema.
All right. So how long have you been standing here?
Almost 30 minutes.
For almost 30 minutes. How is that going to affect your work?
It will affect me, but we'll manage it like that. We don't have anything to do.
So were you people already told about the situation that there will be traffic here, or you just came this morning to meet it?
I just came this morning to meet it.
So what do you intend to do? Will you still wait, because it's almost 9 o'clock? I can imagine the time you get to work.
I don't have any option, so I have to wait.
All right. So that is how the situation is, that people may either arrive at work late, or they may not even go to work at all. So from the first toll booth, if you are moving from Accra towards Tema. From the first toll booth, that's where the traffic situation has started, all the way to the abattoir where they are doing this diversion and then working on the road. So it's quite a thick traffic, I can say, on this stretch. But if you are moving from Tema towards Accra, there's not the traffic is not heavy as compared to what we are seeing here. There's some level of free flow from Tema coming to Accra, but the situation is actually worse from your way from Accra to Tema. And as you can see, people are actually getting tired in the trotros. People are really stranded. They don't know what to do because looking at the time now, they are not at work yet, and the situation is actually, I mean, a very bad scene for them. We understand this exercise will take more than 2 weeks, but what the Ghana Highways authorities told us in an earlier interview, because they needed to do this. They needed to do this to ensure that the road is safer. Not only that, some portions of the roads we know have actually been exposed to with some iron rods shooting out and then causing mayhem on the road. So they are patching the road as well to ensure that the road is motorable. The road is over 40 decades. We know the economic contribution of the Accra-Tema motorway, which is about 19 kilometers between Accra to Tema. Most of the industrial areas are in Tema. You are heading towards the harbour and other areas that contribute massively. It is estimated that over thousands of cars ply this road every day. So it should tell you the economic importance of this Accra-Tema motorway. So just in front of me, heading towards Tema, you see how the traffic is. Congested, cars are not moving as expected, and it's quite a very dire situation here on the motorway. So we are still talking to some of the people in the cars who are really late for work. They never anticipated that it will happen that way. Some say it came to them as a surprise. The traffic came to them as a surprise because they were not actually informed before this traffic actually built up in the area. So that is the situation. So if you are moving from Accra towards Tema, then you have to actually change your route. You have to change your route, or better still, think of something else, because you may not arrive there on time. That is the traffic build-up situation here on the Accra-Tema motorway. So let's still talk. Hello, sir. Where are you going to?
We are going to Miocho.
Wow. So how is this traffic affecting you?
Oh, it's very serious. The traffic is serious. It's serious. Since 2 hours we are in the traffic, we can't move. Look at how I'm sweating.
So definitely you arrive at work very late?
Yes, please. Yes, please. Very late. Very late. It will affect us. It will affect us.
All right. So that is the predicament of this particular driver who are actually on their way to work. More are still going towards that direction. And then they know very well that this is going to affect their productivity for the day, and that is their major worry. That is their major worry here. So the traffic is still on. It's building up gradually. More cars are coming, but those cars coming all the way from Tema, there's a quite free flow for them. So that is a relief for them. But if you are moving from Accra towards Tema, that is where the challenge is. So it's quite a dire situation here on the motorway. So we're moving forward to see or to show you where they are doing the patching of the potholes on the Tema motorway. We'll show you where they are doing the patching of the potholes on the motorway, because that has become an issue of concern that commuters of these roads have actually been raising about. So we will proceed further and bring you updates on the diversion of this Tema Accra motorway because of the rehabilitation work ongoing on some of the bridges we have been told by engineers have failed integrity test and needed to be fixed.
Thank you so much for staying here on the AM show. It's now time to hear what you have to say about the major issues we've been discussing. Benjamin is in the studio with me. Benjamin, just gone by, Samuel Imbura showed us the live situation from the Tema motorway, and it's even trending on social media. There are people who are upset about the fact that this is causing a lot of traffic. There are a lot of people who haven't made it to work this morning, and so productivity is being affected.
Some say it could have been done at night.
So yeah, this Facebook comment I just saw, the guy is so upset. He's asking why this could not have been done in the night when the motorway was less busy, and and it wouldn't have to affect a lot of people as is happening this morning.
Because when that happens, it means it's really going to be like in Kumasi where we say go slow. Like you're going to work or you're returning, and it's going to be really tricky. But when you mentioned that to me right before we got on air, I said poor lighting as well on the motorway. So if they're going to be doing this work, you need proper lighting. Do they have that? Will they have to do that at extra cost? So all of those dynamics. But I totally agree. Why not at night, so that in the course of the day when the stretch is really busy, and that stretch, I don't know, but we can check. So many tens of thousands, if not millions of people would ply that every day. Every day.
Yeah, so this is going to affect a lot of you. Just let us know how you're being affected. If you can let us know, calling to the show 030-221-691 extension 2. Let us know how this is affecting you. Today we've also been talking about COVID. And Benjamin, while you were having that discussion with Musa, I got a hint of a school that has also had to take its midterm earlier than usual because of COVID infections. Because some children's parents or relatives had been infected, and there was a bad cough going around. So the school decided, let's just take a 1 week break. Let's just break the cycle. Let's break the chain a bit, and then we can start school again. So this is really becoming problematic for a lot of parents who now have to figure out, if you're a parent who plans your months way before they come, that, okay, my child is taking a vacation, I'll make the arrangements, and then
so this throws a spanner in the works. It basically throws everything out the window.
So let us know how the COVID situation is affecting you also, because we know that some schools have had to shut down, others have had to take their break earlier than usual, and would also like to know if you've been affected by what's happening at the Tema motorway. Are you still in traffic? Have you received a call to stay at home and not to move at all? Because, we do that a lot here in Ghana. Yeah. If someone is stuck in traffic, Charlie, have you said, no, attempt it, because even try it. The traffic is bad. So let us know how this is affecting you. We've got a call from Ken. Hello, Ken. You're joining us from Tema. Let's hear you.
Yeah, Mr. King. The name is Mr. King.
Oh, King. Sorry.
Yeah, King.
Apologies, King. Let's hear you.
Yeah, basically, I think, the work on the Tema Road could be done in the night, maybe from 12 o'clock in midnight till about 5 o'clock on a daily basis, on a maintenance base. And then the weekends are also there where they can, fix the roads, right? So the roads across Ghana can be fixed, midnight when there's less traffic.
King, you're calling us from Tema, so I want to believe you use the motorway.
Yes,
there are issues with lighting, that. So if they're going to have to work in the nights, that's going to be more logistics, more cost.
The working involves fixing the lights as well. It's inclusive. So they should fix the light and use the light so that during the night, when there's less traffic, everybody's at home sleeping. And then they can fix the roads across Ghana, and then weekends as well. Weekends especially, people don't go to work most of the time. So they could use especially Sunday, right? They can devote a whole Sunday, the whole day of Sunday.
I just wanted to draw your attention. King, I just wanted to avert your attention to the fact that, look, you're saying it, but something must come first. The stretch is bad. The bridges are in a terrible state. If we say they have to fix all the street lights, or the street lights even on that stretch, before they start with this kind of work, you know what that would mean, right?
No, it's going to be easy because we have a lot of solar energy.
All right.
Yeah, there's solar energy that can be used.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
If you go to even the Western countries where there is snow, they're able to maintain their systems. Their road systems are being maintained, although there is snow falling. We don't have snows here. We don't have hurricanes here. So working during the evenings and midnight, even the temperature is even much cooler than working when the sun is hot, 12 You know, I mean, you can imagine the heat working, around 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, right?
Right.
There is more heat. So it's even safer for the human body to work at night.
All right.
When it comes to construction.
All right, thank you, King. But let me just say, it will be good if our producers could reach the engineers so that we put some of these questions to them.
Right.
Why
it wouldn't be a bad
decision,
idea.
Yeah, and then we would also have
I'm sure they would also be able to tell us or reveal to us some dynamics maybe we are not
and most
of.
importantly, I think a lot of people fell into this traffic because they were not aware in the first place. So we need to find out from them how long this will take, what the alternative routes are. And so we'll be very glad
but the roads minister has been speaking to us since, but it's not everybody who...
Yes,
it's
and
not
most of the time, if you do not lift the story from the general conversation, it's difficult because people usually pay a lot of attention to the news than to discussions and all that. We've got Mamadou from Damango. Hello, Mamadou, let's hear you. Hello? All right, and Nana Ponsa is joining us from Kumasi, and I must just say that we are picking up some information that there's been a shooting incident in one school in Kumasi. Our colleague of our security desk, Ohiming Teria, is heading there. So once we get all the details, we'll let you know. But Nana Ponsa from Kumasi, let's hear you, sir.
Yeah, Venice, that's why I'm calling.
Oh, wow.
My name is Nana Ponsa, calling from Kumasi.
Okay, Nana, let's hear you.
Venice, I would like to speak to you. Your best friend IGP. Near me, of course, my Yabro Sodo. You're the Fredra, you're the Drum Kwansa. And then you do say your school, and you shoot too. This is Islamic Secondary School, one of the best schools in the Central region. Chatan Kwala, Yaya Highway, the school, Nenimko Abrepo, Boshan. Knock down, Kaya Kunkum Kwala, ho. Nipa 9. And just Friday, Kakum, teacher Babo. Tim Kolana, the one who and I catch a highway authority. And in Pennyfu, a can be a woman say, yeah, share. That the one was feeding a call air doors who were school, any money pay who air doors of the Agani will be. Nan Kolai, Yankuta Boa, Yankuta Tue, and Yashi. Now, police is wondering a mere Marco to Tuagun Kolano, so to see a Nipa more than 30 and a good from her. Right now.
Nana Menstrual, let's just stay away from the numbers and the figures. Like I mentioned earlier, Ohiming Teria is heading there into, we will get from the professional police perspective how many people have been affected. But yeah, that's a cell prayer. So that's Nana Ponsa calling us from Kumasi.
And very important because we do not have all the facts and figures. And we don't want to paint the picture that is not actually the case.
Yeah, exactly.
So until we can confirm that.
So what he's been saying is that from Idura, we went in Kranza.
Right.
Now the situation is at the Islamic Senior High School.
Right.
If I got him well, what it is that there's been a diversion sort of a highway through the school. From Abrepo to Boshing, and a lot of the drivers that plied that route aren't too careful, and so there have been a few knockdowns. A teacher was affected, and I think that is what the students were protesting over, and we are not too sure. So let's just allow Ohiming to get to the base.
But you can also get the feel. I mean, even as like I said, unconfirmed, but if it turns out that has really happened, then you would see the trend of what he is saying. Ejura and Kranza. We even have Akachi to deal with. And hopefully not. But let's get the details of it.
Has been handling this. We will get our man Ohiming Teria to furnish us with the details.
So in the meantime, you can call that number at the bottom of your screens, 0302 211 691 extension 2. Do call and let us know what your thoughts are. We have Martin. Is it Martin?
Yes.
Yeah, Martin.
Hello,
good morning, Martin. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Esium.
Esium in the Ashanti region?
In Eastern region.
Eastern, okay.
Right. What are your quick thoughts that you'd like to share with us?
My concern is security. As there is this slowdown on the route, I hardly see any police patrol car moving in this queue. Anything can happen. We always wait until the things happen before we try to solve it. Are we thinking about security
in the area that this thing is happening now, or will something happen before we rush there?
Okay. Thank you very much for your thoughts, Martin. We've been joined by Engineer Emmanuel Laye Odai. He's the Greater Accra Director, Ghana Highway Authority, and our producers reached out to him quickly for us. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. So this morning, we've been bringing our viewers the situation on the Accra-Tema motorway, and there are concerns. Why couldn't we do this work in the night, considering the effect it's having on commuters?
Yeah. Good morning. Hello.
Hello, we can hear you, sir. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Good morning. And it is an emergency situation, and we have two lanes. That's the Accra bound and then the Tema bound. The Accra bound lane we have a river, the La Prapa. So there's a bridge over La Prapa Bridge where they are working now. And then there is some distress on the bridge. And the mobile vigilance unit is working of Ghana Highway Authority. Is trying to restore the district. Another circumstances, we are closing it will take us 3 weeks. Because
did you say 3 weeks?
Hello?
Hello, did you say 3 weeks?
Yes, it's taking 3 weeks. Yes, to restore the district. And then in order not to cut the whole place that will affect traffic, the reason we have done the diversion so that link the control. People will go under distress for some time. I mean, just 3 weeks, which is far better than we have in the future.
Engineer, there have been suggestions that the work could have been done at night, where there's less traffic and the impact will not be felt as it's happening now. So why not that option?
You know, it's just like coming to the studio and telling you exactly what to do when that is not my profession. It is a concrete work that they are going to do. It's a continuous something that a continuous work.
Okay.
And there's nothing like in the evening or in the morning. When you do concrete and you cannot allow the traffic to pass on the concrete. And so whether in the morning or in the evening, it doesn't really matter. Because it's the same passage you have to use. So in the morning, when you close, assuming they are not working in the morning and they have to work in the night. In the morning, they cannot pass the same path, the same route. You understand?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
It makes
sense. The reason why we are there, you see, you should allow the professionals to work, and then we help.
These are suggestions coming from people who use the roads, and that's why we reached out to you. So it's good that you've clarified the type of work.
Let them get understanding. Let them get understanding that it is a concrete work we're going to do, and therefore we have no other option than to. We can say people should use the beach road, but at the same time, the beach road is also heavy traffic.
So are there other alternatives besides the beach road?
Yes, there are alternatives, but it's a long route, and that is why motorists wouldn't be comfortable with that route.
No,
you can pass through Boteman.
Okay.
You can pass through Boteman, you can pass through Nungwade, that is, and then you can even use Katamansi to Accra.
Okay.
But it's a long route, so under the circumstances, we all have to bear. We shouldn't sit down and allow a disaster to happen before you see us rushing into it. So we are saying that let's solve the problem, give us 3 weeks. I believe there was some circular going on. There was some circular that went on, and then some others. I don't know whether you are active to get one for the announcement. So that is the issue now.
Engineer Odai, Benjamin here.
Yes. So by 20th, we approve of it. By 20th.
Okay.
And then we are adding some other details that might allow it to hasten the process. So that maybe it might not necessarily take the 3 weeks, but tentatively it is 3 weeks.
All right. Engineer, I just have a few questions. Benjamin here to run by you. So is there a shift? Because I know you've been patching the motorway, which is concrete with asphalt. Does that mean, per the Highways Authority, you're moving back to using concrete to patch or to do the renovation or rehabilitation work?
What I'm talking about is the main bridge. The bridge, I cannot use the asphalt to patch the bridge.
Okay, so this does not include, is this solely for the bridge?
What do you mean?
I'm saying this does not include the stretch of motorway on in that area. It is just the bridge for now.
It's just the bridge. The motorway itself, you know, they will cut the stone in August this year. We are barely 2 months. And then when the contractor comes, most of the issues, it will take care of it.
All right. And do we have an idea when the work is being done during the day? You've mentioned the time span, but is it possible? It means it's totally impossible for motorists, right?
Yes.
Yes, you can pass it.
Okay, all right. Then it settles the ninth day conversation.
Yeah, fresh concrete has to cure before you allow passing. Otherwise, it will break. And that we have a minimum of 2 weeks. We are using 1 week to restore, do the fitting, and then 2 weeks for it to cure.
So finally, from my end, I also know that there are these heavy trucks, some of them loaded far above what the bridge takes, some of them offload and do all kinds of things. I think recently we saw one around the airport area or on the Tema stretch. It had actually got stuck under the bridge. What is the plan? Because if you fix it, and moving forward, these same trucks come and impact them. We'll be back here in a few years' time. What is the plan for such vehicles? How are you coordinating with the other agencies?
We are only praying that people who understand our issues and work as directed. We have the other
Engineer, did you just say praying?
Pardon me?
Did you just say praying?
Did I say?
Did you just say we are praying?
Yes. You know, we have engaged people to do their work. Just like you are asking me questions, I have to answer you. And therefore, we expect that when we place people at serious points for them to work, they will work. And when we put supervisors there to supervise the supervisors, we have the Azolo station that is supposed to control the height and then the weight. Before any good late Tema happens, they are supposed to weigh the vehicle before it comes onto our road. And they are causing a lot of damage to the road when they do it by road. Now, we have the height loaded. When the height is more than 5 meters, you cannot go through. And yet, people at position will allow these vehicles to move on our roads. You see, highways, we have the bylaws, but we cannot enforce it. Right. We have the enforcing agencies, like the police, that are supposed to arrest these vehicles when they see them. Mm. When it comes to heaviness of the vehicle, the police cannot detect it. But it is the other road station that can do that. And therefore, when we have people there that are being supervised, and they allow vehicles to overload with overloaded material to pass on our road, then we have a problem. Right. So, should we see any vehicle that is overloaded and going on the road, then it is no more highway, but it is now the enforcing agency.
Right.
And that's the thing I want
we appreciate your time this morning. Engineer Emmanuel Lai Odai is the Greater Accra Director for the Ghana Highway Authority, and he's been just answering some of the questions and responding to suggestions about the work ongoing on the Accra.
A good point, because it clarifies a number of matters.
Yes, okay, and I'm sure it settles the debate about day or night. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. We'll stay in touch with you, sir. So for those of you who called King from Tema, I'm sure your concerns have been addressed. We'll be taking more of your comments. We've got a few more minutes, about 7 or 8 more minutes to take your comments. And you remember, Benjamin, during the newspaper review, we mentioned that interview our finance minister granted GBC on the National Cathedral project. And there's a quote here: "We can't grow and sustain our transformation without spirituality." And that's Ken Oforiatta. I'm sure you aren't surprised. If you're someone who listens to him, you know, even during the budget reading and most of the time when he appears in Parliament, there are scriptures embedded in his speech. And so I'm not surprised this is coming from him. But the big question has been, is this what we need now? Well, let's just take a few
I think we could, maybe we should just go back, especially on the back of the conversation we've had before we go to the board. We have King back. Is it the same King who called on the back of the motorway?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, you know what this highway, official is talking about?
Right.
It's not realistic.
It's not realistic.
Yeah, when you just cross the motorway, we've got the George Bush Highway, isn't it? Yeah?
Yeah.
We can all see how good the George Bush Highway is. And that's a sample for him to see that he can make the motorway to that standard. The motorway and George Bush Highway...
You're speaking of the N1. You're speaking of the N1.
Yes, exactly. So just after the motorway, we can even, you can see that, drivers are enjoying a better ride on that road. So why don't you just look at it and make the motorway
King, sorry to interject. Your concerns earlier had to do with the time this work was being done. And he's addressed why it's not possible. He says...
What's happening is, I remembered when the George Bush Highway was being done, they worked in the night to get things done.
Yes,
and they can still do the same thing for the motorway.
He's explained to you, sir, he's the professional. I am not, and I'm not sure what you do for a living, but he's saying that it is impossible.
I know. I know.
So sir.
I know he's a professional, but professionals don't know it all, right? I'm a professional as well. I've been to other countries in the world, US, Canada, London. They work in the night. There is snow, there is
But there are different types of roads. Sorry, sir, please permit me. There are different types of roads, different types of materials that require different types of curation. So we have been told, I think it settles the debate, but we appreciate that you called back. We've been told that this is concrete and it will need time to cure. And that is why it will be impossible, even if they work at night, for you to use it by day. So it brings it back to the same point.
To the same point.
So basically, we appreciate that you joined us, sir. But we'll go back.
I think they said there was Nanam Ponso on the line as well, who had called earlier. Nana, are you on the line?
Yes, please, I'm on the line.
Okay, is it on the same issue or the one you called about?
Yeah, it's the same issue.
Please go ahead. So what's...
Kaka American said, Islamic secondary school incident, that's a mechanic numbers, we make a number of Nipa who or more traumatized you from. And an American said, I also pay nurses quarters. And I say, National Ambulance Services, workers never want to shut. And the school cadet and I have one Kualana, I traumatized you from no more torsion.
Okay.
Your best friend nurses quarters also, or more money to move, you know, Komoma Buat and Kualana. I traumatized you from one because
do you the patrol Juma Islamic school hall?
Metebe
area. That's our friend. We appreciate it.
But that's what could be what can be. It's important that he's giving us these updates.
Exactly. But let's speak to.
We do know that more than 20 students of the Islamic Senior High School have been rushed to hospital following a clash with the police, deployed to the school to maintain law and order. And the victims, as we know it, were said to be part of a group of students who blocked the Abreport Junction Barkese road in protest over pedestrian knockdowns involving students and teachers of the school. We do have Ohiming Tewia, who is at the school and joins us with some updates. Bernice, would you like to take Ohiming?
Hello, Ohiming. Just tell us what the situation is there currently. We can hear the siren blaring, but what exactly is happening?
Yes, Bernice, these are sounds of moving, and I must say, a very busy ambulance vehicles trying to convey some of the students who are in unconscious state to nearby health facilities here in Kumasi. It is not clear the kind of injuries sustained by these students, or what probably caused this unconscious state. But what we are taking is that indeed there was a clash between the angry students who hit the street this morning and blocked the Barakasi Abreport Junction Road in protest over what they say is incessant pedestrian knockdown involving students and teachers of this particular school. The school is located just by the main Abreport Junction Barakasi Road. So the students angry over the fact that some of their colleagues and their teachers are being knocked down by speeding vehicles on this stretch, marked up on the road, demanding that authorities construct speed ramps on this stretch. So in that process, that is when police were called in to maintain law and order because they totally blocked the road, which serves motorists traveling from Kumasi to Sunyani and other parts of the country. So when police came in, the information is that the angry students started pressing police officers, throwing stones and then claps at them, and police had to respond with warning shots. As of now, it is still unconfirmed as to what caused the unconscious state of these students, but I can count about 3 ambulance vehicles parked in front of the main classroom block here. As students have been forced to lie down, those who are in unconscious state are lying down here, and they are being attended to by these health personnel here. So it's an issue that has brought the entire academic work on the campus to a halt. And I could count about 10 police officers, some who are armed on campus here, and others who are also stationed just in front of the school compound here.
Ohiming, Bernice, just a second. So I get curious because every time we have some of these incidents, I want to find out, were the police using live bullets? You say they were firing into the air, right?
Yes, the information I got is that, unfortunately, I didn't meet the police shooting or firing the warning shot. The indication is that when police arrived, they fired warning shots just to disperse the crowd that has massed up and blocked the main road. As to whether they used live bullets is yet to be confirmed. Even some of the teachers and the students I've spoken to will not confirm whether the students were hit by bullets or whatever.
So we cannot confirm as of now that any one of them has been hit. Is that it?
Yes. That for years I can't confirm. It's not confirmed, but the students and the teachers believe that probably because the gunshots, the sound of the guns were very close to the students, probably they could be suffering from what some of them described as shock from the shots from the officers, but it's not clear. So we are trying to get more information from the officers, the ambulance personnel who are attending to these students to understand exactly their issues, they understand exactly what happened to them, so we are able to make an informed decision on this.
Ohiming, do we know if these students were protesting with some teachers or they had the blessing of the school authority to do what they did?
Unfortunately, I have not been able to pick that information from the school. All that we know is that the students were protesting. So the protest was just for the students. None of their teachers were involved.
Okay.
And then I tried to speak to the headmaster, who is very busy on campus, because you can imagine the situation at hand. He's unable to give information, but he said at the right time he will speak to us. But the information we have taken is that, yes, the angry students hit the road, blocked the main Barakasi at the Port Junction Road, and in the course of the process, police were called in. It's unclear who called them, but police came in to maintain law and order. Police started firing warning shots, and some of the students are in unconscious state, being transported to nearby health center facilities for treatment.
Finally, Ohiming, these knockdowns that caused the anger leading to the protest, did any of them result in deaths?
Yes, according to the students, it's been happening here. It's very rampant. And what actually broke the camel's back is just an incident they reported here on Friday when one of their teachers' vehicle was actually hit by another vehicle on this stretch as the teacher tried to enter the school premises. And she, according to the students, she's still on admission at the Kompanoche Teaching Hospital for Accidents and Emergency Service. So they believe that several calls to authorities are falling on their ears. So this is the only option available to them now to also send home their grievance, and that they hit the road this morning.
All right.
It's unfortunate that some of them are receiving treatment at the moment. Now I can tell 4 ambulances here at the Islamic Senior High School.
Thank you very much. Ohiming Teria is with our security desk and also stationed at Love FM. Ohiming, we'll leave it here and allow you to gather more information on this. Quickly, we'll be wrapping up the show. But Benjamin, listening to the story, the reason I was asking if they had the blessing of the school or there were teachers involved is these are school children, okay? Fair enough. They did this without notice to the police. They could have gone on a peaceful demonstration, but in some of these things, you can understand the level of anger and frustration, not to justify it though. So you have a situation on your hands and the police comes in, the students begin to pelt stones. I'm just wondering, could the police have taken cover?
I mean, there are always the issues to do with crowd control mechanisms. So and it appears our police has real problems when it comes to that.
So the police, could they have taken cover and engaged a teacher or a tutor these kids will listen to? Okay, and I'm assuming, and we see this happening in the West and in the movies, there should be a megaphone or something where you are addressing the crowd and you're speaking to them. So could it have been that, okay, who's the most influential teacher here? What teacher will these kids listen to? Address the children, call them and engage them. Could this have been explored instead of what we're seeing now? I don't know, but we will be asking those questions. But as we wrap up, it's now time to take some water. Awake is premium purified water treated through strict purification process to ensure that every bottle on the market refreshes you better. We have the perfect size for every occasion. 330 500 ml bottles to fit your pockets and bags. 750 ml for heavy drinkers and 1.5 liters for those who always want more. We've also introduced a special 19-liter jars for offices and homes. Awake purified drinking water, one for life. Remember, for every bottle you purchase, an amount is donated to the National Cardiothoracic Center. It's produced by Casapreco. For bulk purchases, please call 026-235-1251.
Well, Ghana has developed double taxation treaties with countries such as the United Kingdom, Belgium, Denmark, France, Germany, Italy, among others, for the relief from double taxation on income arising in Ghana. Taxpayers benefit from tax credit facilities under the double taxation treaty.
And rent to own a 2, 3 or 4 bedroom house or beachfront villa in the new Accra city. Cities inhabitants rent to own at a price you can afford and at a pace you can pay. Visit www.newaccra.city for more details or call or WhatsApp 0555 530 300, 0577 911 101 or 0557 054 635. The Planned Cities Extension Project, shaping Ghana's urban future. And that's how we end this edition of the AM show. We are grateful you can make time to join us. God willing, same time tomorrow, we are back discussing issues that matter to you and issues that will shape your morning, like Benjamin said.
JoyNews Desk is up next. Do stay for that. Have a good day.